job, and we kind of made a plan. It was more of a 4-year plan, and in year 2, I never would have thought we would have picked up these 20 wins.
Head coach Christy sides after a grinder of a win over the Dallas Wings, 110-109. Caitlin Clark dropping a new career-high 35 points. Traffic on the 5s, Dan Levy.
Current right now in the area, roadways, we still have crews on the scene of a crash on the south end of 65. Southbound at Keystone, it's on both shoulders, but not causing much of a backup with that one. North end 465 eastbound, you're seeing a delay from 865 to Meridian. And 65 on the north end going southbound in the breaks from 38th into 21st. This report is sponsored by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficult hiring. Robert Half's recruiting professionals utilize their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent. I'm Dan Levy with Traffic on the 5s. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, with leading-edge treatment options right in your backyard.
I feel blessed and lucky. If I knew someone that was going through what I was going through, I would definitely encourage them to participate in a clinical trial. For me, it was life-changing.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard air dealer serving Central Indiana.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Sunny skies, very warm temperatures this afternoon and quiet. Today's high 87. We're partly cloudy and comfortably cool overnight, a low of 58. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
A clear radar, sunny and 64 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, September 16th. It is 6 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Donald Trump with the tweet yesterday, 0-2. This after he survived a second assassination attempt. That gunman was spotted outside the golf course where Donald Trump was golfing on Sunday, playing a round of golf. And the shooter apparently left a couple backpacks and a GoPro as well.
So this is wild because this happened late enough in the day that kind of had begun the process, at least in my own mind, of, hey, what's the show going to look like for tomorrow? And I kind of thought the theme was going to be how people don't get Donald Trump. And obviously you had this thing about the tweet about Taylor Swift, which I'm sure we'll get to later, and like the thing about the cats and the dogs, and maybe we can get to this later on in the show. It's kind of obviously taken a back seat about how people still don't understand Donald Trump or what he's doing or what he's trying to accomplish, and that is fascinating to me. But that'll obviously take a back seat to this, which is, once again, you have seen an individual so radicalized by the left, right? I mean, the guy is using the phrases. He's using the Biden-Harris phrases. This guy's, unlike the previous shooter, he's all over the internet. It's well known who he was, what his political leanings were. Now, they've since shut... by the way, this is interesting. I saw them shut his Twitter account down in real time because I was perusing through it because I thought, oh, man, that's kind of wild. It's still up. And then it just, like...
disappeared.
You went to refresh a tweet or whatever, click another tweet, and they took it down. So that was interesting to see it in real time. But there is no doubt this guy is a total leftist maniac. He was totally indoctrinated as it relates to Ukraine. That became his bizarre obsession. And here is the question that I have, Casey, and I'm not asking to be facetious. I'm not asking to be political about this. My dad and I were talking about this yesterday. and this is the question that we really need to get to the bottom of. In the case of this guy, how did he know enough to pull this off? Because that was really disturbing to me about the first shooter, which is, how did he know? I mean, this was miles and miles from his home. How did he know the building? How did he know to get up on the building? How did he know he wouldn't be seen? I mean, all of these things didn't make sense. This is even more amplified because this guy allegedly, according to his son, Daily Mail had a big expose. They found this guy's son and said, I didn't even know he was in Florida. I thought he was living in Hawaii.
Right.
I mean, which he was living in Hawaii. So his own son, who granted had a little bit of a strained relationship with him, but it sounded like they were in some form of contact, didn't even know his dad was in Florida because he lived in Hawaii. How does a guy go literally
across the country?
Right. And knows exactly where to go, where to set up, where to hide. I mean, like if I were to drop you right now down on the Mar-a-Lago golf course,
right,
and say, Casey, figure it out. Here's some woods. The average person would have no idea. So the question that needs to be asked is, how do these people keep knowing these soft spots, or in this case, what to do, period? Because this guy, at least with the Pennsylvania shooter, he was from that state. At least while it was many, many miles for him to go to the location and someplace he didn't have a lot of familiarity with, at least it was the same state. This guy's going across the country and figuring it out. What is going on here where these guys, luckily they suck at shooting, but are able to figure out how to manipulate their way around security and law enforcement?
Yeah, it does seem really odd, doesn't it? And there's a lot of questions people are asking today. This guy's social media accounts were filled with posts about recruiting soldiers for Ukraine, many of them from Afghanistan. And he shared many anti-Trump posts throughout not only Twitter, but also Facebook, which was all shut down. And the New York Times even wrote a profile on this guy back in 23. And then, mysteriously, he took shots at Donald Trump.
Well,
He should have been on the radar.
Right. I mean, this guy is straight out of Central Casting. And you know, it is interesting when we talked about, because part of what comes with our job is we deal with crazies, and we read that manifesto from that guy who was handing stuff out in the van outside WIBC debate night. But these people are out there, and you do realize that there are a whole bunch of uber radicalized individuals who, whether it's because they've got a screw loose or they're incapable of dealing with their emotions, or both, and in many cases, I mean, these people who just, it is not it's every American's right to complain. It's every American's right to speak about how they think their government's doing. It's every American's right to engage in the political process to affect elections and outcomes the way you desire to see that happen. Nobody's saying that. But clearly, when you see like that letter that we read from the Stan in the van guy on Friday or Thursday, and then you see guys like this, they're out there. And they shouldn't be in society from the standpoint of, like, this guy certainly should not have been in society. You do wonder, the Stan the Van guy, what's going on in his world, because we're not even politicians. We're radio broadcasters. The level of extremism that has been brought on in our country, much of it in the rhetoric of the left. I mean, this guy was using the exact same words that Biden and Harris have been using. And, you know, they always want to paint the right as the extremists and the lunatic. Look, the right is not out there shooting at Joe Biden, right? They're not doing that, okay? It's not happening. This happens over and over and over again, where these leftist people are being, I mean, I don't know, other than indoctrinated, what other word you could use, because this guy was clearly, look at his tweets, his writings, etc. He was totally in the camp.
So you've got Kamala Harris calling Donald Trump the biggest threat to America since the Civil War on Tuesday. And then on Sunday, someone tried to kill him. And many people are saying lone wolf, and he's been indoctrinated. And I got to tell you, I'm questioning whether he truly was a lone wolf.
Well,
and I think many people are.
Again, I will ask this question, and if somebody has an answer, I would love, whether it's in the YouTube chat. By the way, you can watch us on YouTube. Put Kendall and Casey in your search bar, or at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter. Is that normal that a guy, I mean, this guy was not, to my knowledge, did he have an extensive military background? I haven't seen any proof of that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me on that. But this guy is able to, living in Hawaii, end up in Florida without anybody knowing it, apparently. At least, like, his son is just played totally dumb on the phone. Now, whether he's telling the truth or not, who knows. But to go to a somewhat secure, secluded area and be able to almost pull that off. Now, in this case, it sounds like the Secret Service really did their jobs and were able to flush this guy out, because I didn't know this. It makes sense. They go ahead, a hole ahead, and start securing the area. And then obviously, thankfully, there was a witness that saw this guy fleeing the scene, and they were able to track him down. Now, we're lucky that there's just twice been people who weren't very good at doing what they set out to do.
Right. It's interesting. Ron DeSantis has announced that he's launching his own independent investigation into this at the Trump International Golf Club.
How did he know Trump was going to be there? Like, you don't know. I mean, they don't announce Donald Trump's schedule that I'm aware of. There's not something that's saying between the hours of noon and 4, Trump will be playing. So how did he know where to go, where to be, where to hide, how to set up, and when Trump was going to be there? Or was this just something where he'd done this for multiple days and it's like, okay, now's the day Trump's playing golf and let's go? I mean, I don't know.
Been watching and waiting, and then saw an opportunity, and then that's where he ended up. And what's with the GoPro? Was he going to film the whole thing? And where was he planning? What was he planning on doing with that?
When you keep telling society that it is not, that a guy is a dictator, he's a Hitler, he's a fascist. I mean, all of these things, and it, like, has Biden said a word? Has Biden said anything?
Well,
like, as of last night, I had not seen it. Now, again, maybe I missed it, but
I saw that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz said they were glad that Trump was safe.
Has the president of the United States said anything? And if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but as of last night, I had not, because people were talking like, where is Biden? What is he? Was he asleep?
Right.
Was this a thing where they put a...
Well, it was after 4 p.m.
That's true, yeah. I mean, how is Biden... Now, again, if he has said something, somebody can pipe up and we'll read it or whatever, but what is going on in our country, Casey?
Well, and I think the most amazing thing, and this happened late last night or yesterday evening, was after the fact, after all this came out, after Donald Trump said there were gunshots in my vicinity, I'm safe, I'm well, and many people were saying he's safe following these gunshots, and, you know, you heard the description of everything. Then you've got the mainstream media going on the air pretty much saying it's Donald Trump's own fault.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
It's like he's saying you had this coming to you.
And I saw this yesterday. Somebody said this, and it's amazing. That is the anchor of NBC News.
Correct.
This is not some podcaster, bro.
Right.
By the way, Biden did. So it's 12 hours ago. So this would have been, I mean, that came out during the Chiefs game that happened. So this was hours after this became public. Biden said this: I have been briefed by my team regarding what federal law enforcement is investigating as a possible assassination attempt of former President Trump today. A suspect is in custody, and I commend the work of the Secret Service and their law enforcement partners for their vigilance and their efforts to keep the former president and those around him safe. So he didn't go on camera, but remember, they were like, we got to tone the rhetoric down. And then they just elevated the rhetoric again.
Right, exactly. And you know what else is interesting about this is last time, the first assassination attempt, big news. It was covered for probably a week. This time, when this one happened, it took me about a half an hour just to determine if this was real or not.
This is the bigger theme here is there are so many people now, whether it's part of a coordinated effort or not, don't know, but there are a lot of people in this country who are so intent on Donald Trump not becoming the president of the United States that they're willing to kill him to make that happen.
Yeah.
That should be a gigantic eye opener to every single reasonably thinking person in this country, that this guy poses such a threat to something. And it ain't democracy, and it's not the American way of life, but he poses such a gigantic threat to something that these people are repeatedly willing to try and kill him.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
In Detroit, Kamala
rolls out this bizarre accent.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave.
I would love it if that's how she talked in meetings. Kamala Harris goes up there sounding like Foghorn Leghorn. I'll say, somebody better turn the Fox News off the television.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Maybe you want guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Mark from Danville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I finished building my new perfect home out of state and needed out of my old place quickly. Plus, to cover the cost of the new home, I needed a big price. The Mark Dietl team was my answer. My home was sold in 3 days on the market over my asking price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy for Senate.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer. Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Chris Wettican here, owner of Absolute Comfort. Our guys' experience brings us to a higher level than most other companies.
Absolute Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Donald Trump was tackled by Secret Service agents when he was on the 5th hole after pops rang out at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida. According to Fox News, Trump was getting ready to putt when the incident unfolded. Sean Hannity, after Sean Hannity made it about himself, described the incident.
So they were playing, they were on the 5th hole. And the way Steve described this, the way the president described it, they both had exactly the same story, which was that they heard pop, 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 pop. And Steve went into great specificity and great detail as to what happened right after. Within seconds, the Secret Service pounced on the president, covered him. You had snipers with tripods. They knew the direction where the shots had been fired, and they had eyes on the location where the shots had been fired.
Okay, so the last, in terms of legitimate assassination attempt on a president, legitimate's probably not the right word, but near death experience. What I'm trying to say is Reagan was the last one where it was like, man, that was really close. He could have been hit. I'm not saying there haven't been other people who have plotted or, planned to or whatever, but I'm saying in terms of what we as a society have seen where there were shots within the vicinity of the president of the United States and I'm asking this out loud in case I have missed something, was Reagan in the early 80s.
Yeah,
right?
I was thinking about that, and the last time there was a candidate would have been Robert Kennedy.
Right. So you go Reagan in what was that? He'd just been elected. So what, 81, and then Kennedy in 68. So that's 13 years in between. And then who, I don't even know who it would have been. Who was it McKinley? Anyway, point is,
those are the ones we know about.
Right. But I'm saying where there is like, hey, this actually, well, Wallace was shot obviously as well, so he was in that time frame too. But what my point on all this is, you went 40-some years, 42, 43 years without this happening, and now it's happened to the same guy twice within a month, 2 months of each other. Like
5
this
weeks.
This is not normal. And the son is super interesting because so if you're not aware, the son, this guy's son was interviewed by Daily Mail. I think Daily Mail got a hold of him. And the son claimed, didn't know my dad was even in Florida. He was in Hawaii the last I knew. Claimed he didn't own a gun.
Okay, well, let's get into that because there's a lot of unanswered questions about this. How did he know where Trump was going to be? What was his motive? Well, I think we kind of know his motive. He was radicalized. How did he get that gun? Because he had a criminal record. Now, this is according to Newsweek. He had reportedly been arrested 8 previous times.
Yeah, so this is what I don't, and it's obviously a high-powered weapon, right? I mean, we're not talking about a handgun here that he was able to, get off the street. So how did he do that? How did he either get the weapon across the country, or how did he obtain the weapon once in Florida? And again, if the son didn't even know he was in the continental United States again, how has he been paying for things? How has he been providing for himself? Who knew he was here? What did he tell people he was doing? And I will continue to ask this question. How did this guy know, in an area that was apparently foreign to him, according to the son, where to go, where to be,
what tree line to be on,
what time to be there? How did all of this take place? And he clearly knew enough about the area that he had an escape plan mapped out. I mean, he did escape. Somebody thankfully saw him, and that's how they were able to catch him. They saw him fleeing the scene and get into his automobile, and that's how they were able to track him down. But this was not, this was some orchestrated thing. Like, this guy had thought this through, and it had the wheels had been turning, and he had put a game plan together. So that's the bigger question to me is, how did this guy who was apparently, foreign to the area, at least in recent memory, there's apparently videos of this guy meeting claiming he was in Washington, D.C. to meet with people about Ukraine. Yep. Who did he meet with? Who was he talking to?
He was originally called a donor, but it seems like his involvement was a little deeper than just being a donor.
Well, he claimed he was in the Ukraine.
Right.
Can you just parachute down into the Ukraine?
Getting fighters.
I mean, I'm not trying to be facetious or mean-spirited when I ask this. Can you just go to, could Kevin get on a plane and say, I'm going to Ukraine? Can you do that right now? Or do you have to be, I would think you had to be some sort of dignitary, or, I mean, we're told it's this war-torn area.
Right. At least check in with the State Department first.
Yeah.
And see if you
something
can.
Is very, very off about this. Now, they caught the guy, so you would think, unless he unalives himself like Epstein, that maybe we'll get some answers here. Now, would that surprise you at all if he unalives himself?
Or if somebody else does it.
Right.
Like a Jack Ruby sort of thing.
I mean, at this point, this is a complete mess. And you have to ask yourself, why do they keep trying to kill this guy? Why is this the guy that they keep trying to kill?
So the former assistant to the FBI director just came out 11 minutes ago, and it's being reported that he may have had inside information on Trump's schedule. This developing story is, I think it's just going to get...
Inside information on Trump's schedule? Good grief, Casey.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of twists and turns. And another question, should Trump have had the same security as Joe Biden?
Yeah. Well. All right. Okay. What do we want to do more of this? What do we want to get into the Taylor Swift Trump stuff? What do
we can do that. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Sinus pain. You know it all too well. It's constant. It's frustrating. The pressure, the headaches, the snoring, the constant clogged feeling. You're tired of feeling like this, but you've tried nasal sprays, over-the-counter medicines, even home remedies. No matter what you try, nothing gives you lasting sinus relief. You're tired of missing out and feeling miserable. There is something you can do. Something different. Indianapolis Sinus Center. The physicians at Indianapolis Sinus Center have been serving the community with proven treatments for over 50 years. They know what you're going through, and they're standing by ready to offer you the best treatments to provide long-term relief. Breathe better. You don't have to keep suffering from sinus pain. Call Indianapolis Sinus Center today at 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward relief. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650. Or go to IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
What was his motive? It's 67 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The son of a man accused of planning and nearly carrying out an assassination attempt on former President Trump on Sunday says his dad is not a violent person. Orrin Ruth told the Daily Mail that his father, Ryan Ruth, hates Trump, but was shocked to hear that he might have been planning an assassination of him. Ruth was discovered near the Trump International Golf Course armed with a rifle. The former president was playing golf at the time. In Israel, more rocket attacks by the Houthis.
A lot of attention is being paid right now to how this Houthi rocket penetrated as far as it did into Israel. That rocket had to travel about 1,200 miles from where it was fired in Yemen. It's ballistic, so it doesn't travel in a straight line. It's fired up before it arced down towards central Israel. Now, reports say the rockets are Tufan. Like most rockets fired by the Houthis, it evolved from Iranian Shahab rockets. All of the rockets fired by the Houthis are supplied by Iran.
Fox's Mike Tobin hits an astronomical trifecta, if you will. Tuesday's full moon will be accompanied by a partial lunar eclipse. The full moon is also the harvest moon, connected with the harvest time in North America, and will be emphasized because it's a supermoon on top of it. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. We are mixed to open the week. The Dow is up 189 to 41,582. The NASDAQ is down 119 to 17,560. And the S&P 500 is down 2 to 5,623. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Rob. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate. For every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free, plus 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years. Restrictions apply. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect.
40 years of B Window.
And 80,000 Indiana homes with windows, doors, siding, and bats.
Pam and I are happy to announce B's 100 employees now own B Window, and Patrick Renard will lead B as CEO.
And B will continue the customer-first feeling that George and Pam built. And to celebrate B employee-owned, B's offering employee pricing 60% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments.
Proud to be employee-owned. Woo! Trust me. Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Celebrate a fun 50s weekend in Grant County, Indiana, September 26th through 29th. Cruise over to the Ducktail Run in Gas City and the James Dean Run in Fairmount, two of the Midwest's coolest classic car shows. Honor the era of hot cars and cool cats and celebrate where cool was born. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana, classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Did you know you can now use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Tony Katz here. We're talking about QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. Under the leadership of medical director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. The consultation is totally free, so call now. Take action to get lasting joint pain relief with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics, Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So Donald Trump is safe and unharmed after Secret Service agents engaged with a suspect pointing a high-powered rifle at him while he was golfing. And you and I were talking about how many attempts have been made against people who are running for president or in office, and we got fact-checked.
Yes, our boss is listening. I'm sure David, our fabulous boss, is listening very intently today. Don't say anything that'll get you fired.
Right.
And he pointed out...
No guarantee, David.
And rightfully so. And I can't believe he forgot this. Ford, they tried to kill him not only once, but twice.
Yes.
And one of them was fairly famous, Squeaky Fromme, who's a part of the Manson family.
And both women.
Yeah.
Attacked him.
Now, the Squeaky Fromme one, I feel horrible that I forgot that. And, we're doing this on the fly here, but she was very close to him. That was they were both in 1975. He was visiting the state capital of California. Isn't it wild how, 1975 was 50 years ago, but there was a time where California was like always in play. It was always a talk. Of course, Reagan won it in landslide in 84. But so he was, campaigning because obviously Ford ran for re-election in 76, and she was right next to him and should have killed him, but thankfully, luckily for him, she's an idiot and forgot to chamber around in the gun, and it didn't fire, and he wasn't harmed. But yeah, that's right. Twice in 1975, within a very short period of time, two women tried to kill Gerald Ford.
Yeah, of course, the Ford Presidential Library right there in Grand Rapids on the banks of the Grand River. It's a pretty location.
Now, you lived in Michigan, so did you go check out the Ford Museum?
Absolutely, I did. It's a really nice setting on the river.
Isn't it crazy, though? And this guy... Do we say his name? I don't know. The news said his name. I don't know. It's like...
You don't want to give him the notoriety?
Because we don't typically do the names of murders, but obviously, this is an international incident now at this point. So do we say... I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave it up to you. You're the professional one
guy.
Here. He clearly was a complete insane person when it came to the Ukraine. He had some just mental illness about our involvement in the Ukraine, or whether you think we should be there or not. This guy took it to a just incredibly level of bizarre. And I think one of the working theories now, at least from people, is this guy became, and who knows, they'll interview him, whatever, we'll see what comes out about it, but that he became obsessed that Trump was going to pull the plug on all that never-ending magical money printing factory going over there to the Ukraine, and that this was, could have been a part of it. But man, there's just, Casey, there's so many unanswered questions about how this guy knew where to go, where to be, when to be there.
When he got there, how he got the gun.
The statement now from the FBI that he had insider knowledge about Trump's schedule, that is uber weird. And the fact that this guy was in Washington, apparently or allegedly meeting with potentially politicians, this is very, 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 very strange. All right, Casey, speaking of very, very strange.
Yeah.
When we come back, this story broke on Friday and I wasn't here. And it is one of the weirdest, most bizarre attempts to break a story that I may have ever seen. And it ended up being a gigantic nothing burger. And I cannot believe that a local media outlet, who we really like, and they do a lot of really good reporting, wasted this amount of resources on and ended up with completely nothing.
Yeah.
The Indiana Capital Chronicle tried to disprove that Micah Beckwith's dad invented Moose Tracks ice cream.
Yes, they did a bunch of research, wrote a complete article, and at the end determined, oh, yeah, he did.
You want to talk about when the media tries to get you, but they didn't get him. Michael, join us. We'll talk about it next.
It's on the way from 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon, 3:06. We'll recap the Colts game, the biggest stories in Indy, Monday Gun Day, 93 WIBC.
Do you own an annuity? Right now, you could upgrade your annuity and get 40% more income, tax-deferred growth, and pay fewer fees and expenses. It's true. This upgrade could add up to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income. Learn more by calling Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
If you currently own an annuity, discover how you could get 40% more income, tax-deferred growth, and pay fewer fees and expenses. Bill Demery's the guy that can break it all down for you. This upgrade could add up to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income. And it won't cost you a dime. Talk to Bill Demery today. 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Consumer warning. Stay away from stablecoin Tether. Tether is a cryptocurrency company with a so-called stablecoin called USDT. It's supposed to be backed one for one by the US dollar. But Tether's murky past exposes Americans to outsized risk, shady practices, false claims, legal entanglements, deliberate lack of transparency. The United Nations called Tether the preferred choice for regional cyber fraud operations and money launderers. Tether has never published an independent audit of its finances and operations. Financial rating company S&P gave Tether a high-risk rating, a major red flag. Warning. Owning a stablecoin that isn't independently audited comes with enormous risk. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Steer clear of stablecoin Tether. Visit tetherwarning.com to learn more. Paid for by Consumers Research.
Hey everybody, this is Pastor Nathan Peternell, and I'm here with Travis Rogers to tell you about the Alpha Course.
That's right, Nathan. The Alpha Course is a chance to explore life's big questions in a relaxed, friendly setting.
It's a free course that starts on Monday, September 9th at 6:30 p.m. at the Life Church Noblesville campus. Each Monday night begins with a delicious meal followed by a short video and discussion time. Alpha is the perfect place for open and honest conversations about life where no question is off limits.
You don't want to miss it. Register today at lifechurchin.com.
Truck drivers, it's time to drive for a company that values your time. At Midwest Logistics Systems, you'll get home every day and have a predictable Monday through Friday schedule with occasional Saturdays. Plus, you'll enjoy the convenience of driving out and back routes and hauling no-touch, mostly drop-and-hook freight. MLS drivers also earn performance and safety bonuses and have access to a comprehensive benefits package. Explore our selection of local dedicated driving jobs and apply today at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center. Our multidisciplinary care team will guide you every step along the way.
It was very overwhelming at first, but I found this whole community of people who are understanding and just very supportive. So I have a lot of thankfulness and gratefulness for who I am through this and after this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Head to Suburban Indy's Home and Outdoor Living Show at the Grand Park Event Center this Friday. Catch Hammer and Nigel broadcasting live 3 to 7 and see over 200 home experts, exhibitors, service providers, and more.
This next story may be the most ridiculous story we've ever covered on the show. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. 93 WIBC. I'm Rob. Casey's here. And I guess where we're at in politics in this state is if they can't get you, they come for your dad. New headline out from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. It came out Friday. Fact check. Who invented Moose Tracks ice cream? And this was a piece trying to disprove, wait for it, not anything that Micah Beckwith did, but that his dad didn't invent Moose Tracks ice cream. Yes, that's it. That's what our media in this city is wasting their time on. And look, we've said this many times on this show. We like the Indiana Capital Chronicle. They do a lot of really good reporting. We have them on our show quite a bit. And in fairness, the lady who wrote this piece wrote it fair. She noted the news articles talking about how Micah Beckwith's dad invented Moose Tracks ice cream. But the piece itself, which couldn't disprove anything, was just a colossal waste of time. And I cannot believe, with all of the pressing issues facing us here in the state of Indiana, trying to disprove that Micah Beckwith's dad invented Moose Tracks ice cream was what they used their time on. Micah Beckwith, Republican candidate for lieutenant governor, joins us now on the WIBC hotline to discuss. Beckwith, I can't believe this was a thing.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rob. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think the media is trying to do everything they can to just discredit me. I mean, that's what it is. But it just tells me I'm doing something right. When we all know that even the Capital Chronicle, and media like that, they lean left. They just have a leftist bias, and we just have to know that when we go into the battle in the political world. But yeah, they wanted to try to find a. Oh, he's lying. We got him. It's done for Beckwith now. And they just can't do it. I mean, why would I make that up too? That's the other question. It's like that's such a weird thing to make up. But yeah, my dad did indeed invent Moose Tracks ice cream.
Okay, so a little background on this. So when you were running for lieutenant governor in the primary of the convention, the big knock on you from the establishment was, what does he know about agriculture? The lieutenant governor in the state of Indiana, one of the major things they do is they oversee agriculture. And the big thing on you was, he's a pastor. He doesn't know anything about agriculture. And you said, bull crap, my dad has been you didn't say bull crap. I said bull crap. You said bull crap. My dad has been in the dairy business for years. He invented Moose Tracks ice cream.
That's right. And we used to be involved in the Michigan Dairy Association. I mean, I grew up going to dairy association meetings since the time I can remember. We worked with dairies. I worked with my dad. I would do sales calls. I worked in a dairy in college that made my dad's ice cream. I mean, it's just, I've got a lot of experience. And I think they were like, oh, my goodness, what the heck? Like, this guy actually has the tools in the tool belt, because that's what the establishment tries to do. They try to say, hey, it takes the people with experience to know how to run the government, right? And I just believe that our government was set up to be a citizen legislature. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do well in government positions, but they want you to think you don't have the chops to be able to govern well. So they'll always come at you on your experience, and the only ones who have experience are the ones who have been doing it for 40 years, right? So the politicians that have been politicians for a long time say, oh, we know what we're doing. You just sit over there. And so when they found out, it's like, he really does have experience in that agricultural world. It kind of made him upset, I think. So
okay, so what was interesting to me about this is Indy Star, who loathes the fact that you even are allowed to breathe air, a couple weeks ago came out and said this. They were like, yeah, his dad totally invented Moose Tracks ice cream, because he did. But if even Indy, I was reading this article and I just could not believe it, because even the Indy Star they write an article about you every week about what a disgusting, horrible human being you are. And even they said, yeah, his dad totally invented Moose Tracks ice cream. And I thought, we're still going through this when even the Indy Star said the guy invented Moose Tracks ice cream.
Well, when I got a call from the Capital Chronicle reporter, she had said that there have been a couple people who have reached out to them saying Mike is lying. Mike's dad didn't invent it, because they found the name of my dad's business partner, who was also a co-creator of Moose Tracks and was part of the company. My dad owned a majority share of the company, but a minority share. There was two other minority shareholders, and so they can take credit for creating Moose Tracks too, because they were part of the company. But they said, Mike's dad didn't do it. It was this other guy. It's like, well, the other guy was, as part of the company. So it was like,
real quick. So basically, what happened? And by the way, I'm laughing at. I was like rolling on the floor. I read this article and I get done and go, "Did they cut off early? Like, is there some? Did I miss part of the article?" To their credit, the reporter for Capital Chronicle did report the facts. I think she did a fine job of fairly reporting. And she mentioned that there's all these articles out there talking about how your dad invented Moose Tracks ice cream. I think she gave the information accurately. It's the premise of the story, Micah, that you've got a lieutenant governor on the Democrat side who in one day changed his mind on abortion, on guns, on marriage. The Democrat nominee for governor couldn't tell Adam Wren of Portlandville and Politico if she voted for Trump or not in 2016. I mean, these people, you could just write Dickens novels about how hypocritical and disingenuous they are, and they wasted all of this space and effort on whether your dad invented Moose Tracks ice cream.
Because I'm not a Democrat. I mean, the Democrats get a free pass from the media. I mean, the Democrats will constantly be sort of protected by the media even. And then the Republicans are the ones that you go after. That's just sort of the way the game works. We all know it. The rules are, Republicans have to live to a really high standard. Democrats can steal, cheat, murder, get away with it. That doesn't really matter. I mean, look at Anthony Weiner. I mean, he's just a prime example, right? It's still, he probably still, had he not gone to jail, he'd probably still be a congressman. So but all that to say, this is just the rules of the game. Republicans don't get a fair shake, and we all know that, and that's just how it goes.
Micah Beckwith is our guest. We're talking about this incredible article. And again, the lady did a fine job, I felt, of presenting the evidence that your dad did. She interviewed you. I think she quoted you accurately. It's just the premise of the article. Fact check. Who invented Moose Tracks ice cream? It's a story in the Indiana Capital Chronicle trying to debunk the fact that Micah Beckwith's dad did invent Moose Tracks ice cream. All right, so real quick, just kind of a very high level to explain to people what happened here. So your dad was in business with another guy. They invent this Moose Tracks ice cream together. There's some sort of legal entanglement. It ends up going to court. As part of the court settlement, was reached. Your dad basically surrenders, his portion of the business, or is bought out, or whatever phrase you want to use, of this company to this guy who now owns the company to this day.
Correct. Yeah, there's a guy named Wally, and it was really my grandpa's company. My grandpa started it back in the late 50s, and they were in the packaging world for dairy industries products. And so, but in the 80s, they started making flavoring and getting into the ingredient side of things and selling to dairies to run these ingredients. And then it was actually my dad, my uncle, and my grandpa. My uncle unfortunately he was killed in a car accident in the 80s, and so my grandpa hired this guy named Wally to be a salesman. And then when they kind of started this new offshoot of a company called Denelli Flavors, my dad had the majority shareholder investment, and then Wally and then one other lady were shareholders as well. And so, yeah, and then just things went south. I mean, relationships. It was just, there was obviously what happens in business sometimes. You can't get along with people super well. And Wally was doing some things that just my dad didn't think were right, and he didn't want to see the company just dissolve. Wally would have just dissolved the company, and I think my dad had put his life blood into it. And it's kind of like that Solomon moment where, all right, we'll just split the baby in half, and the real mother comes out and says, no, don't do that. Like, give the child over to the other woman. I'd rather see the child.
Yeah, I think, Micah, with this again, with me, it's just the premise of the article. That of all I'm sure when you get a call from Indiana Capital Chronicle, you're thinking, do they want to talk about property taxes? Do they, do they want to talk,
I think they got me. I think they thought they had me. I think there were people that said, no, he's lying. And I really think that's why they ran the story. That's why they wanted to they wanted to get me. And I tell everybody, listen, I am an open book. Everything everything about me already. I mean, there's nothing out there that you don't know already. I'm Micah Beckwith. This is who I am. And so, but I think they really thought this was a gotcha kind of moment, and they wanted to go down. And then once they got down to the end of the trail, they're like, "Oh crap, we just put all this time and effort into it. I guess we gotta post it and we gotta put it out there, or else it would be a ginormous waste of resources." So.
Well, that's the thing. I got done reading the article because you read like the first sentence or two and you're like, oh my gosh, is this some big expose? And you keep reading and reading and reading, and then it just kind of ends. And I was laughing, like I was so wishing I was at work on Friday, because I told Gabrielle, I said, this is the most unbelievable waste of time I've ever seen, because it just ends with no disproving whatsoever that your dad invented Moose Tracks ice cream.
It was pretty funny. My mom called me. She read it. She was like, that was a really good article. I mean, we loved it. It took them back down. My dad was in the car too. It was like took us back down memory lane.
Yeah, and again, the fact that you've got a Democrat running for governor who is so disingenuous. She claims she can't remember if she voted for Donald Trump for president or not in 2016. You've got Terry Gooden, who in one day changed his mind, the lieutenant governor, on abortion, on guns, on marriage. No articles about the things that actually would affect people's lives, and they wasted all this real estate and time. And like I said, we like the Capitol Chronicle. They're very nice to us. They normally do. And look, the lady did a fair job reporting. I just can't believe this was what she wasted her time reporting on. Micah Beckwith, thank your dad for all the yummy goodness over the years. How about that?
I will do that. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, it's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life. And that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit DiamondsDirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
We set out to be the very best of the best, and past couple years we've actually achieved that. For all of the state of Indiana, we've been awarded the Dealer of the Year award twice now. Unlike other brands, that only gets handed to one dealer every year, and we're very proud to have won that twice.
Put the best to work for you at FamilyHVAC.net. Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hey, it's Robin. I've put my name behind Garage Doors of Indianapolis for the past 7 years because they're a local conservative company that does quality work on time. In many ways, Garage Doors of Indianapolis is the perfect Hoosier. Recently, they helped my family in a garage door pinch by arriving on site quickly and fixing the problem right away. For all of your garage door needs, call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 317-875-4577. 317-875-4577. Or visit them at doorstoday.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here.
Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust, right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Rob. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate. For every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free, plus 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years. Restrictions apply. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Visit liveunited.org to learn how you can help.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a local expert weighs in on yet another Trump assassination attempt. Plus, libertarians are making sure you consider their candidate, and the champ will reign again. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. A call for the Secret Service to get more help. I'm Dave Anthony. President Biden just made it before leaving the White House for Delaware the morning after the second Trump assassination attempt, this time in Florida.
Thank God the president's okay.
The former President Trump was not injured. Nobody was.
The service needs more help, and I think the Congress should respond to their needs.
It was Secret Service agents who saw a rifle poking through bushes at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach as the former president was playing. They shot at the gunman who drove away but was later captured on a highway.
Right now, it's a matter of gathering some more forensics if we can and checking to see where the gun came from.
Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw tells Fox they also want to know where the suspect, Ryan Ruth, was staying. His last known residence was in Hawaii. Ruth's due in a federal courtroom this hour.
He had reportedly made statements that indicated he supported former President Trump in 2016 before withdrawing his support in 2020. Back in April, he had a post on X saying democracy is on the ballot and we cannot lose, a phrase often repeated by President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Now, the vice president condemned what happened, saying she's deeply disturbed. Democratic Congressman Jason Crow is on the House task force investigating the first Trump assassination attempt in Pennsylvania in July and told Fox
political violence has no place in our country, and Republicans and Democrats must come together and say this is unacceptable.
More death and destruction in Gaza, where Palestinian officials say an overnight Israeli airstrike killed 16 people at least after a Houthi militant attack on Israel over the weekend.
A lot of attention is being paid right now to how this Houthi rocket penetrated as far as it did into Israel. That rocket had to travel about 1,200 miles from where it was fired in Yemen. Israel says the rocket was hit by an interceptor but not destroyed.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv. Houthi militants also claim they shot down an American Reaper drone. No response from the U.S. military. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
His perspective on the attempt. Radar is clear, 72 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Another assassination attempt on former President Trump was stopped before it could happen over the weekend. It was at the Trump International Golf Course where Trump was playing around on Sunday. A golf course is a tricky spot to secure, says Doug Coons with Veracity, a security company in Fishers.
And you've got perimeter that borders along a road. You've got other golfers playing there. It's just very difficult to completely secure, but they did a good job here in spotting what I understand was just a gun barrel sticking out.
He expects the FBI to begin delving into everything the suspect owns to get a clue as to why he was planning the attack. Libertarian Chase Oliver made a few campaign stops in Indiana this past week, and he says he'd support legalizing abortion if elected.
If the standard of Roe v. Wade and Casey were brought to a bill by Congress to my desk, I would sign it because I do believe all people deserve that bodily autonomy.
He tells All Indiana Politics the government has no place in building affordable housing either. They planned the robbery over social media, and it cost a man his life. Donnie Burgess reports on a 2021 murder.
Dusty Lawrence agreed to meet Tremaine Hobson and Demetrius Coakley on March 28, 2021. The date was supposed to be simple: leave the wife and kid in the car, trade the gun, then take off. But what Lawrence didn't know was Hobson and Coakley wanted him to leave empty-handed. Indianapolis Metro Police say Lawrence was shot and eventually passed away. Both Hobson and Coakley were arrested in the years since. Hobson was convicted of murder and robbery last week. Coakley is up next. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A teenager in Lafayette accused and rather arrested for making threats online against a school. The 14-year-old kid is said to have threatened to shoot up Lafayette Jefferson High School. Police tracked him down and he had a gun with him, so you can add firearm possession charges on top of the intimidation. Alex Palou remains the reigning IndyCar Series champion after Sunday's season finale in Nashville. Colton Herta winning the race itself, his first oval win ever. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate the paint, do what Judy did. She called Rhino Shield.
After having the house painted with kind of usual house paint, I was seeing cracks appearing about every 3 years and just wasn't very satisfied with that.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating specifically formulated for our unique climate.
I can't speak highly enough about the Rhino Shield crew. They also were great at working with me to get the exact right color because I was very particular.
Now get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield is partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers.
I would not hesitate to call Rhino Shield and recommend Rhino Shield to my friends and neighbors and family.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard air dealer serving Central Indiana.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Morning. It is Monday, September 16th. It's 5 minutes after 10. He's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels, and a man is in custody after shots were fired yesterday. The FBI is calling it an attempted assassination of Donald Trump. It happened at his golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida. This comes 2 months after a previous attempt on his life at a campaign rally. Trump, who was rushed to safety after the incident, said it was certainly an interesting day, and in all caps, he tweeted out that the Secret Service had done an absolutely outstanding job. Now the Secret Service is calling for more help. Ron DeSantis saying that he's going to have the state of Florida conduct their own investigation into this second assassination attempt.
Okay, so there's kind of 3 layers when these potentially, life-altering events happen that I kind of think we try to handle them as responsible members of the media in this city. Now, we are commentators. We're not journalists. We are here to give opinions. We're trying to get you to think like us. But we still try to, when breaking news happens, we try to put on our best foot forward. And so I kind of think there's kind of 3 layers to what we do here on a day like this. Number 1, we give you the information that we know about this person. Like, these are things that have been definitively confirmed by law enforcement or things that are definitively found on the internet that have been backed up now. Hey, universally, it's kind of agreed this is the guy. These are things that he did post, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's the layer that you kind of work off of that and go, okay, hey, based on the things we know, a reasonable person might assume or might be led to these conclusions based on these things we know. And then there's sort of a third tier to it where we say, hey, if we take that one step further, it might not be that long before we determine A, B, and C, might being the key word, right? So, like, the first thing of what we know about this guy is, according to his son, he didn't own a gun that he's aware of. The guy was a felon, I believe, right? He
Well, it's being reported that he did have a long criminal history and also a civil court history, including a conviction for possessing a machine gun in 22.
Okay, so the son said that he didn't have a weapon. The son did not know that he was even in the continental United States. He believed him to be living in Hawaii. And while he and the son had a strained relationship, it appeared, based on his comments to that appeared in Daily Mail, that they were in communication. So that's very weird. That if you were in communication with a loved one, and you were like doing these major life-altering things, you weren't communicating. So we know those things happen. We know that this guy was a pro-Ukrainian war nut, right? Like, I mean, his posts are everywhere. He is very intense about the posting. He's very, he has a deep-seated hatred for Donald Trump. It appears some of that relates to the Ukraine involvement, and that apparently he did indeed visit Washington, D.C., where he claimed he was meeting with, I don't remember the exact word he used, but basically you're led to believe that he may have been meeting with politicians in regards to discuss the Ukraine. So knowing these things, then we ask the question, how does a guy who, again, while he was weirdly in the Ukraine, which somebody, you know, I'm not saying this one or another, I would think it'd be pretty hard to like just parachute into the Ukraine as an American citizen and be like, I'm here, allow me to help. I would think that'd be kind of a thing you'd need some sort of clearance for or something. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they just let people fly in and do that. But how does a guy with no real military background per se that we're aware of,
right?
How does he leave Hawaii, end up in Florida, and appear to have a somewhat well-versed knowledge of not only the Mar-a-Lago property, but where Donald Trump is going to be and when? Now, was this a thing where he found some, you know, chink in the armor of guarding Mar-a-Lago and just sat there for days on end
and waited for his opportunity?
That's really weird. And that's a question that we're going to need some real answers to, because he clearly knew the property. He knew where to go. He knew where to hide. He had an escape route. And think about this. If you were to, we live in Indiana, so let's say, Casey, I'm going to send you to Provo, Utah, okay? Would you know the intricacies
where to go,
how to get on the road, where to hide in the bushes? No, I mean, that should be a giant red flag to everybody that this guy had knowledge without what would appear to be a background that would, you know, give him the skill set to be able to do this. So if we take the things we know and then the questions we have based on that, I don't think it's a stretch to say that this guy may have very well been a person either radicalized of his own volition, radicalized by other high-ranking leftist politicians, or both, when coupled with his passion and zest and insanity, let's just say what it was, for this Ukrainian involvement. And so when you couple him using the exact phrases that Kamala and Biden were using, his bizarre obsession with the Ukraine, that this guy had been warped into, I don't think it would surprise anyone if we're going to hit the third part of the stool here, that we learned this was, in some shape, form, or fashion, a radicalized individual based on the rhetoric that had been put out into the ether by high-ranking leftist politicians, who was very, very, very enraged over the potential of Donald Trump becoming president and ending funding to the Ukraine. That would not surprise me at all.
Well, clearly his social media accounts, before they were deleted, were filled with posts about recruiting soldiers for Ukraine. He's so passionate about this that he goes there and he starts recruiting soldiers himself. Does that seem like something that even the most passionate person would do?
No,
like,
it's
in my spare time, I'm just going to go over to this foreign country and start getting people to fight this war.
It's the ramblings of a person with severe mental illness. But you do wonder, okay, so now we have two people who have tried to kill Donald Trump in a very short period of time. And what commonalities do they have now? Like when you start looking for this, and this is where the lack of progress on the Crooks investigation is so disturbing, because what points of commonality are we seeing between this guy and this guy who just tried to kill Donald Trump? And I think the common thread, Casey, is that you had Joe Biden and Kamala Harris who are using language that would drive unstable people to do heinous acts like this. When he's using, this guy is using the exact same phraseology that Biden and Harris were using. He didn't pick that up on his own. He heard that somewhere.
He was repeating that.
Absolutely,
from what he heard.
He was repeating that. And so when you're going to continually tell society that somebody's a dictator, they're a fascist, they're a threat to democracy, they're a Hitler, they're a racist, they're all the things that they say, MAGA, all of these things. When you have somebody who's not all there now, I'm not making the leap yet that he was part of some conspiracy or anything else, but I don't think it's a huge leap to say when you take unstable people and you drill into their brain that this guy being Trump, is all of these things, the leap is not that great. Now, the big question, though, to me is, how was he able on his own to pull all of this off?
Well, and the FBI said that he was probably between 300 and 500 yards away from Trump when he was stopped.
How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
Probably between 300 and 500 yards. But with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
So then they were asked, okay, should the Secret Service protection surrounding the golf course, did they do the job, or should it have been even more heightened security? And the answer here is a little interesting, because they say he's not a sitting president.
Yeah, I don't understand any of this about, like, the guy who was the president. He clearly is either winning or tied in almost all of the polls, especially when you factor in swing states, which, by the way, some of these polls are coming out. She didn't get near the bump out of that debate that we were led to believe by a lot of people, certainly not in the swing states. And it just blows my mind, Casey, that they are not taking this. I mean, this is what feeds conspiracy theories, right? This is what feeds people saying the fix is in here on this. That there's more to this than just this guy being some lone wolf, where somebody tried to kill Trump already, and by the grace of God, he was not killed the first time. And you're not doing more, right? I mean, thankfully they were able to catch this guy. Thankfully he wasn't a good shot. Thankfully he missed. But
At what point do you think that people are going to just start tuning this out? Like, oh, it happened again.
Yeah. You hit on a great point, which is,
oh, that again? We're doing this again.
Are we normalizing
assassination attempts?
Right. That's a great
wow.
That's a phenomenal question.
That's scary to consider.
I hadn't even thought about that until you just said that, but you're right. I mean, because it doesn't seem that this one is getting near the publicity
that the first one got.
And what we know and what we're believed to know, this may have actually been a more elaborate plot when you think he got onto Donald Trump's property.
Right.
Which, how did he do that? That's the big question.
Right.
How did the guy get not only across the country, but from Hawaii? It's not like he went from Texas to Florida. He had to make land in the continental United States and go do this.
So politicians from both sides, they condemned it, all political violence. But yet it was just days before that Kamala Harris was saying that Donald Trump was the biggest threat to America since the Civil War. So which one is it? You're either condemning it and you're saying there's no room for this in our country, or you're calling him saying he's a threat to democracy, he's a dictator, he's a fascist. And then when it happens again, as Americans, how are we viewing this? Are we, there it is again. Like, I feel like it's almost like, is this still the lead story tomorrow?
Yeah.
The first time it happened, it lasted for a week.
Well, here's the the long and the short of this is thankfully he's still alive again. Thankfully, God was looking out for him once again.
Mm-hmm.
And you as a voter have to decide there's a reason these people keep trying to kill this guy. There's a reason people keep trying to take him out.
Yeah.
And you get the power over whether you're going to stand up to that or not. That's the country we live in. You can decide that this is an acceptable new normal, or you can say, wait a second. Why do they keep coming after this guy? What is this guy? And it's not that he is actually a threat to democracy. That is wholly ridiculous. Donald Trump's done nothing that was we're not even a democracy. We're a constitutional republic, right? We're not even a democracy. I don't think Kamala probably knows that. But you are going to have to decide whether you're going to stand up to this or not, and whether you're going to allow these lunatic people that believe if we don't like somebody running for president, we'll just kill them because we don't like the fact that they might win. You gotta vote with your feet, and you gotta make your voice heard, and you gotta stand up to this stuff. We'll see if the rest of the country's willing to. I don't know.
It's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC. This could be one of the most consequential votes of our lifetime.
Who will be our next governor?
U.S. Senator.
Our next president? Who will represent us in the General Assembly?
You have a voice with your one vote.
Unhappy with the current state of affairs?
You can do something about it.
Voting is one of our most important rights as Americans.
It's how you can stand up for your beliefs,
your values,
and for future generations. A reminder to make your vote count on November 5th.
November 5th.
November 5th.
From WIBC
and Urban One.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369.
Did you know you can now use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Tony Katz here. We're talking about QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulder, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. Under the leadership of medical director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. The consultation is totally free, so call now. Take action to get lasting joint pain relief with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics, Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
The Suburban Indie Home and Outdoor Living Show at Grant Park.
Featuring over 200 home improvement exhibitors.
September 20th through 22nd.
Tickets are only $7 at suburbanindieshows.com.
So it might not be such a love story after all, Rob. They are never, ever, ever getting back together.
No.
Yeah, we're talking about Donald Trump and Taylor Swift. And apparently her endorsement of Kamala Harris and also Tim Walz, it may actually not do what she was hoping it was going to do. Yeah, maybe actually turning some voters away, more voters away than attracting.
So the New York Post had an article about YouGov, which is a known polling entity, and it's certainly not a conservative known polling entity. And I think, in fact, in their survey nationally, they have Harris ahead of Trump. So, you know, we're kind of even Steven, right, in terms of who you're dealing with here. Showed that by what was like a 2-to-1, more than 2-to-1 margin, the Taylor Swift endorsement is more likely to hurt Kamala Harris with voters. Like people saying, I'm going to vote against Kamala Harris solely because of this, versus people saying, I'm going to vote for her solely because of this. And this is the thing that we have talked about, you and I have talked about before. And this is why our show is number one, to the dismay of internet trolls and people down at the State House, because we see things that other people don't see, and we don't go in mass panic when everybody else starts freaking out, which is that Taylor Swift, people are sick of her. Like that, she has legions of fans. Don't kid yourself. She has tons of people that are Taylor Swift fans, millions of fans. But most of those people are not people who live in the political arena. Most of those people already know how they're going to vote anyway. And so she's not moving the needle in terms of undecided people that go, well, I was on the fence, but Taylor Swift, right? But people that who will say, well, I was on the fence, but I'm so sick of these elitist, liberal,
Telling
out of
me
touch,
what to do.
exactly, that I'm going to go the opposite way. And I'm so glad, Casey, the least favorite part of this show.
Yeah, when you have to come on and say how right you are.
So what's interesting to me about this is, so this poll comes out, and Trump clearly is responding to this.
Yeah.
And puts out, I hate Taylor Swift. And I saw so many people on our side going, oh, he shouldn't be doing this. He should just be campaigning. He should let this alone, and blah, blah, blah. No.
He's telling people, do the opposite of what she says.
He's leaning into this. Like, I had this conversation yesterday with somebody who is a reasonable person. They're liberal, but they're a reasonable person. And we were going back and forth about this. And I said,
do they have natural hair color, or is it blue or pink?
It's natural. Okay. This is a pretty professional person, but is a common sense, individual. And they were asking me about all this, because obviously I am much different. There are people who work at this radio station that are like up in arms over this, or were yesterday. And I was like, this is brilliant. And this is what I told this person. So many people still, after all these years, do not understand Donald Trump. They don't understand how he operates. They don't understand that he's never going to operate as normal politicians have before. And the people he's talking to are not the populace at large. Yeah, on the surface, would you say, boy, that's kind of beneath the president of the United States to say I hate Taylor Swift? But we are so down a rabbit hole in our society in terms of where people are politically and how pissed off people are politically, that just like with that debate with the cats, and people got all hung up on the cats and whether people are actually eating cats, it doesn't matter.
You're missing the point there.
Yeah, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? The conversation now is about 15 million people at least who have illegally invaded this country under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Trump had to do that to make that the conversation. Now the conversation is how places like Springfield, et cetera, are being just destroyed by immigration policies in this country. If Trump hadn't talked about the cats and the dogs, we wouldn't be doing this. The same thing, and if you're a guy in, like I said, Western Pennsylvania who will decide Pennsylvania, now that's front and center for you, right? 15 million people, or they say 12, they're low, so it's 15. And what's going on? He's talking to very specific groups of people. The same thing with this tweet. Yes, is it what we deem presidential? No. But he's a billionaire. He marketed himself. And don't give me this thing, oh, his dad gave him money. There's lots of people who start with $1 million and didn't end up a billionaire, Casey. There's lots of people who start with $1 million and ended up a zeroaire. The guy is a marketing genius. He knows how to talk to people. He knows, there's a famous thing, he knows what people need to hear and what they want to hear, right? Isn't that Tommy Boy? That's in the line in Tommy Boy. Your dad knew what people wanted to hear and what they needed to hear. And Donald Trump does things that don't make sense to the average pundit or observer, because they're not the person he's talking to. They're not the person he's trying to get the message to. clearly based on that poll that YouGov put out, the average person either doesn't give two you-know-whats about Taylor Swift, which is the majority of Americans, so that doesn't help or hurt him. But those who do don't like her, and it doesn't help.
Okay, so 20% said that they were somewhat or much less likely to vote for Harris now that she has spoken out. 66% said that her endorsement made no difference at all. But there's also another poll on top of the YouGov one, and this one was done by ABC, and it says that only 6% of voters were more likely to support Harris since Swift's endorsement.
And it was so it was a smaller number, but it was almost identical. It was 13% against. It was 2-1. So now you're beginning to get a trend on this of where the people who can be swayed are. So why wouldn't you take that stab? Like, Tony went on a rant about this yesterday, and I respect Tony, and he does a fine job. Tony doesn't get it. He doesn't get what Trump's doing. The people who are going to vote for Trump are already voting for Trump. The professional, we're done with that, right? They've tried to kill the guy twice. You want to talk about professionalism? You want to talk about acting presidential?
Right.
None of this matters. This is trench warfare at this point.
He's not going up against a person. He's going up against a machine.
It is about cobbling together if Trump saying he hates Taylor Swift is going to cost him your vote, he wasn't ever going to get your vote anyway. Donald Trump knows what he's doing. And this is what I told the guy that I was talking about yesterday. Donald Trump's 2016 and 2020 elections were very different. And if people remember, who've listened to this radio station for a long time, remember in 2020, I said, I think Trump is going to lose because of his behavior. And people went ballistic, right? They were like, I got blah, 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 blah. We'll never listen to you again. But I was right. And he did. He did lose. And it was not because of it was because in crisis how he was behaving, how he was handling a crisis, which was the riots, the essentially race wars that were basically going on in this country, and the COVID stuff. People didn't want that behavior during crisis. They craved normalcy. But in 2016, when that wasn't going on, people looked at it and they said, okay, I'm going to go with this because it's different. And 2024 feels a lot more like 2016 to me than it does 2020. So I could be dead wrong. Day after election, you guys can point at me and laugh. I don't think this is anything but good. I think you should totally lean into the I hate Taylor Swift stuff, and I hate her too, so I'm here for all of it.
So before we get to the news, here's some audio. This is a woman who's expressing what a lot of people are feeling, not only about Taylor Swift, but all of the celebrities and the Martha Stewarts of the world and their endorsements.
Taylor Swift, until you are living paycheck to paycheck, your opinion on voting doesn't matter. There are families struggling to decide whether they need to pay rent or put food on their table for their family. Yeah, you're out flying around on your private jets every day while people are struggling to put gas in their car just so they can get to work. Please sit down and shut the fuck up.
There we go. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
$100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He'll be in court. It's 73 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The man accused of apparently trying to kill former President Trump is due in court today. Ryan Ruth was arrested yesterday after Secret Service and the FBI say that they spotted a gun barrel within 500 yards of the former president as he was playing golf at the Trump International Golf Club in Florida. President Biden is thankful Trump was not hurt.
One thing I want to make clear. The service needs more help,
And I think that Congress should respond to their needs if they, in fact, need more service.
Referring to the Secret Service there. The U.S. Navy's first co-ed submarine is in New Jersey and ready for duty. The USS New Jersey, that was refurbished earlier this year in Philadelphia. It's the most decorated battleship in the Navy's 248-year history, and it's now the first fully integrated submarine built for both men and women sailors. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jewelers' workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to file your taxes, you need to call the professionals right now at the Tax Helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call Texas 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire the largest injury firm in the world for your injury case? Let me count the ways. Your case will be handled by your lawyer, a paralegal, and a case manager who's always in the office for you when your lawyer's in court. There's also a 24-hour hotline if you ever have a question or a problem. We've collected over $20 billion and won a lot. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Ready for some high-energy excitement and fun? Head to Jonesboro, Indiana, September 26th through 29th for the Jonesboro River Run. Amazing stunt bike riders, a cool bike show, fun field events, cool light show, and rockin' live bands all weekend long. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Chris Wedekin here, owner of Absolute Comfort. Increase comfort, lower gas bills, and reduce your carbon footprint.
Go to AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Emmer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
The phone number, 317-559-PAIN. 217-684-8444 if you'd like to get involved with your voicemails. We would appreciate a call. We'd like to hear from you. And this first one is about an article that James Briggs wrote in Indy Star. It's titled 70-Year-Old Mike Braun Can't Pretend Micah Beckwith's Anti-Vax Views Don't Matter. He says Micah Beckwith is not just some rando posting for his college buds. He's gaining power to push anti-vax views. And here's a phone call about that.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back, Rob. Several events happened over the weekend, including another Trump assassination, which are going to be such a regular story that people are going to start ignoring it, I'm afraid. But my little beef right now is with the Indianapolis Star. Okay, Briggs, nice hit piece on Mike and Micah. You just won't stop, will you? And what a stupid subject you brought up on it. And also, I think that Mike Braun can live to be 78, so get off it. Get over it.
All right. So okay. First of all, we've had Briggs on this show multiple times. His straight reporting is excellent. And you guys know anything I say on here, I'll say it right to their face. I've always got along fine with Briggs. We're not like buddies where we hang out at the Bellagio together, but professionally, we've always been cordial. His straight reporting is very good. The Indy Star's covering of the Hogsett stuff, excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent work. He is a far left radical on his political views, though, and I don't think he would think that I would think anything less of him. Briggs has a bizarre obsession with Micah Beckwith, and it is amazing the links that the media is going to. I've never seen this before in a race in Indiana politics where the number 2 guy, who in the lead up to the convention were told, oh, all this huffing and puffing doesn't matter because the lieutenant governor doesn't do anything anyway. Well, all of a sudden now, this guy, the number 2 guy, is some sort of, I don't think they've called him Hitler yet, but it seems like once a week they're writing pieces about Micah Beckwith, who just a few months ago we were told this is all a floor show that doesn't matter because the lieutenant governor doesn't control anything anyway. And basically Briggs is almost killing off poor Mike Braun in his piece, trying to act like Micah Beckwith is going to take over the government. And it's sad for James because he's a really good reporter. He does a really good job when he wants to do straight news. But these opinion pieces are why the Star is in so much trouble. These opinion pieces completely alienate people who otherwise might really enjoy reading the good, straight news that they write, and it puts them in a trouble point where there's fewer people than ever before reading the paper, and that's too bad because we need more people holding people in the State House accountable.
I want to ask Mike Braun if he's feeling okay, because here's a quote from the article. Braun is 70 years old, an age at which shopping for life insurance becomes difficult for a reason. I think he's okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be okay.
He's a U.S. senator. He's run a business. I think Braun, we just saw him the other day or a week ago or 2 weeks ago or however long it was that he was in here, seemed pretty good. And if he's not, so what?
Well, we've had many conversations about age, clearly because of what is going on with Joe Biden.
Right.
And it's not the number that matters. It's how the number affects your ability.
You know what's interesting about Micah? And
it's different for everybody.
Well, Micah has a very special ability that most politicians do not, which is he doesn't care. Like all the things they say about him, and I'm telling you this, like, personally, when I interact with him, obviously the public interactions we see, it doesn't bother him. Like we chuckle about when we have our phone calls together and stuff, we chuckle about these things because the obsession, it's a very, very strange thing. And the only thing I can come down to is it is a recoil at the idea of someone with devout faith who puts faith above all else and is not afraid to have an unwavering love and express that unwavering love in the belief of Jesus Christ, being in a position of power. That is the only thing I can figure that is driving this, because look at who the Democrats are. The woman running for Democrat, the Democrat woman running for governor, is such a liar and such a fraudster that she claims she doesn't remember if she voted for Donald Trump or not in 2016. Really? No one believes that. Yeah. Not a word from James Briggs or the Indy Star about that. Really? Not a word. Terry Gooden, the lieutenant governor, in one day changed 20 years of positions on abortion, on gun control, on marriage, on education, on just about everything. He flip-flopped. Not a word from the Indy Star about that. So you have pathological, disingenuous liars on this side, and not a peep. But this guy, it's a column every single week, which all it's doing is encouraging people to vote for him, Indy Star. All these hate pieces are entrenching people who otherwise might not vote for the Republican because they're pissed off at him to go, you can't do that to our pledges. Only we can do that. And I hate that James is doing that because it's diluting the great reporting, his opinion pieces, and the far leftism with his opinion pieces alienate people who otherwise would get a lot and would want to consume the straight reporting that they do.
Okay, so we know that there's that Trump derangement syndrome on the national level. I think locally here in Indiana, we've got the Micah derangement.
It's weird, isn't it, to be
MDS.
right? I mean, and we talked about this like with the Trump assassination, where do people become immune to the severity of it? When you're Indy Star and you're running a thing every week, it's like people just are like, oh, another one. And that's why the Capitol Chronicle article to me was so ridiculous.
The Moose Tracks one.
You burned any goodwill that you might have had if Micah does something that you should go after him on, or you find something you should go after him on. Because you just wasted all of this time and effort and real estate on nothing.
On ice cream.
Whether his dad invented Moose Tracks ice cream or not. And instead of just scrapping the story and going, hey, we looked into this and it turns out he really did.
Yeah.
They'd still run the story. Right. The only evidence that the guy might not have invented Moose Tracks ice cream is the guy who ended up owning the company said, no, I did it. But there's so much sourcing that says this guy owned this company. He invented it. That the Capitol Chronicle, it was an article about nothing. And this is my point. I mean, this is why people recoil against the media. This is why people vote against the media. This is why people, no matter how mad they may be at Republicans sometimes in this state, keep voting for them. Because of this sort of behavior. And the media here just doesn't get it. Just stop pulling the crap and you might get a more desired result.
Speaking of Trump, somebody wanted to call and make a comment about his debate performance.
I couldn't listen to the debate live or watch it live because I was working. But I've heard your analysis of it. So I went back and I suffered through it. I watched the whole thing. Trump was definitely off his game. Yes, the moderators were against him. He missed several opportunities. There was actually a flip-flop that he could have called her out on that he didn't, which was the EV mandates. She's in the past demanded an EV mandate, and now she's saying she doesn't. That could have helped him with Michigan by pointing that out. The biggest thing I think he missed that I can't believe she actually said on national television that could have ended her if he had thought about it and responded to her was her statement of that January 6th was the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Yeah, that happened. You have to keep in mind that she said that on the eve of the anniversary of September 11th.
Yeah, and look, so the guy's right. Trump does a lot of things that drive me crazy. But the polling out, there's a new poll out in Nevada that shows he's gained 3 points. Okay? Most people, I would say 98% of the country knows how they're voting. If you need a debate performance to tell you how you should vote, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, and I'm not saying that it's going to go in Trump's favor. I tend to think there's more people that are sick of the crap. This feels a lot more like 2016 and where the public was and the sort of things Trump is going to be able to run on, which are in his wheelhouse that 2020 was not. But if you need a debate to help you make up your mind about whether you're sick of the price of gas the past 4 years and food and rent and if you need a debate to tell you got to do something different, then you weren't going to vote for Trump anyway.
Okay, Kevin, I want to skip ahead to the one called eggs. Now, you were out on Friday, and so I made the little Kendall and Casey promo.
Yeah.
That's what we call it.
Sure.
Our commercial to promote our show, and I did it without you. And I had made a comment that eggs were up to $4 a carton. And this is our number one fan.
Oh, no.
Our number one fan.
Oh, no.
Do you have it, Kevin? Yeah. Okay. So he wanted to call and fact check me on this.
Good morning, guys. Way to start the week off with a lie, even in your commercials. Kroger, grade A jumbo white eggs, $3.69 a dozen. Yeah, it's a little bit high, but it's not over $4. I don't know where in the heck you guys buy your eggs.
Okay, so I was at the grocery store yesterday. It was the Meijer on Rockville Road in Avon. One carton of eggs, $3.99. I may have been off by a penny.
By the way, eggs are so expensive. I had eggs that were supposed to expire on the 15th.
You ate them anyway, didn't you?
Well,
did you hard boil them?
No. Well, the point is, the last 2 days I've been eating nothing but eggs. So these are too expensive to go to waste. So every meal has been eggs.
The eggs are all golden
My wife's like,
now.
Are you eating eggs again? Yes, they're too expensive to go to waste.
Hammer's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon, 3:06. We'll recap the Colts game, the biggest stories in Indy, Monday Gun Day. 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Pat Sullivan here with Michaela from the Michaelis Corporation. If you see mold growth in your home or business, you need to get it checked out by a professional. Michaela, why should someone with mold call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local and family-owned business for over 39 years. Our inspections are free and we're IICRC certified. Michaelis will sample the mold and has full remediation services if needed. Many times it is not needed, but we want to ensure it is not a dangerous type of mold.
It's important to know what you're dealing with, and should it be something that is a problem, does Michaelis help with the insurance process for mold remediation?
Absolutely. We handle working with insurance throughout the process to give you peace of mind.
If you suspect mold, call the Michaelis Corporation. Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. That's 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Head to the WIBC contest page and enter for your chance to win 2 tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra's brand new show on Thursday, December 19th at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. And while supplies last, you can purchase tickets for just $49.99 plus fees.
There he is from the Hammer and Nigel program, Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Store.hammerandnigel.com. You can buy your I'm voting for the convicted felon shirt. Mm-hmm. I feel like I should put a shirt out there that says I'm voting for the guy they keep shooting at.
Yes.
I mean, ridiculous, ridiculous. I texted Rob late last night. Crappy day of gambling, crappy day of politics. On to Monday.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a good college football day, though.
You were on fire in college football. 4-1.
Yeah, thank you.
In college football.
And I was just mediocre enough, thanks to a disastrous offensive performance by the Bears, which I predicted, that I ended up having a good weekend when you combine them two. Great college football, mediocre NFL, put them together. Pretty good weekend on the Degenerates Next Door podcast.
Something Rob brought to my attention yesterday. If you watched any of that Sunday night game last night, the Bears at the Texans, it sounded like a Bears home game. Like Bear fans were loud in that joint. So now imagine what it's going to be like here in Indy this upcoming Sunday.
And I got tickets because I run those tickets. I'm going to be there. Yeah. You had a great idea last night. I mean, sometimes you will just text me these things, and I am just blown away by your mind. I mean, it's just a fertile, ever-growing garden of incredibleness.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So after a full weekend of watching football, I thought, all right, if the talk stations on the 4th floor here, the Fan and WIBC, were tasked with putting together a football team, what would be the lineup? Now, as the head coach and offensive coordinator, I put the offense together. I'm going to leave it to Rob, maybe for another day, to put the defense together. Yeah. He's my buddy Ryan. He's the defensive coordinator here, okay? But, Rob, you've got the list in front of you. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, should I read the descriptions, too?
Please.
All right, so quarterback would be Jake Query. Quote, doesn't really have emotion. Stays calm, tall guy, very cerebral. The only concern is that he doesn't have a love for the game and can be very lazy. Feast or famine.
And also there are some medical conditions. Like if we're doing a combine, you know, like...
He's not going to be the fastest sprinter.
Right, you could hear Chris Collinsworth. Now here's a guy that's had a heart attack.
Left tackle, me, that being you, Jason Hammer. I'm the perfect mix of fat, athletic, and strong. I feel I'm a nasty enough bastard to protect the blind side and also get out and run block.
Yeah.
Like your left tackle needs to be like the guy that gets into a bar fight on your offensive line. I feel like I fit that category.
I think so.
Left guard, Donnie Burgess, total team player, and I feel like he would give you everything he had, happy to be there and help the team win. Center, Tony Katz, has enough confidence to call out offensive line changes because he thinks he's the captain of the line.
There you go.
Also mean enough to throw a chair at somebody.
It's happened. He's thrown a chair at somebody. Like, you want that out of your center.
Right guard Nigel, fat but kind of athletic. We know he works at least one day a week at exercising. Good enough to put on the offensive line right side where he can hide somebody. Might get mean if he has a few drinks in him, which is a bonus.
Right, he's going to have a cocktail before every game.
Right tackle Corbin Lingenfelter.
Producer Corbin.
Yeah, biggest man on our offensive line, but limited mobility. We want him on the right side, not the left. Running back, Rob Kendall. I have faith that Rob will read the playbook and pick up the blocking schemes and also be very versatile enough to catch a pass out of the backfield. Being kind of small, some defenses might have a hard time picking him up on the screen.
He'll be like Rudy. He'll just sneak right by.
Right. Tight end John Herrick, I feel he could be a real weapon for us here. While not as quick as some of the elite tight ends, he can be very big, tall, and physical blocker and receiver like Brock Bowers, big target for Jake. Other tight end Guy Relford, experienced but predominantly a blocking tight end. His best years are behind him, but he could totally be our Jack Doyle at this point in his career. I trust him to be a rock-solid blocker. Wide receiver Kevin Bowen, other wide receiver JMV, and then the kicker and holder Kurt Darling and Matt Bear.
Nice.
And we're going with a 2 tight end set, but in the event we get behind and we have to eliminate a tight end and bring in another wideout, that's where you can bring in Matt Bear to be another wideout and move JMV to the slot.
I love of Kevin Bowen, Hammer put him as wide receiver because, quote, I know he runs and works out.
Yes.
You got to know these things, right?
What's
A good coach would.
What's coming up this afternoon?
Monday Gun Day. Guy Relford's going to break down all things assassination attempt against Donald Trump. And, man, we're going to have a good time. Rumors of fun facts for kids.
Hey!
Thanks, Hammer. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Call 800-631-9123. 800-631-9123. That's 800-631-9123.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Attention all Hoosiers, a historically important election is headed our way. The time to prepare for the election is now. Are you registered to vote? Do you have a plan to vote? The Indiana Secretary of State's office wants to remind you, registering to vote or updating your registration is fast, easy, and can be done online at indianavoters.com. You must be registered 30 days before Election Day, so get registered and get out to vote. This message is sponsored by the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
The Suburban Indie Home and Outdoor Living Show at Grant Park.
Featuring over 200 home improvement exhibitors.
September 20th through 22nd.
Tickets are only $7 at suburbanindieshows.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, an expert from Indiana talks about the Trump assassination attempt, plus why a teenager was arrested in Lafayette over the weekend, and a dismal performance all around by the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Fight, fight, fight. Or President Trump posted that on Truth Social. I'm Dave Anthony. This is the same thing he shouted, fist raised, right after the first assassination attempt back in July. Unlike that one, he was not injured yesterday in Florida. The former president also just told Fox Digital Biden-Harris rhetoric is to blame, saying the suspect acted on what he calls highly inflammatory language from Democrats.
President Trump needs the most coverage of anyone. He's the most attacked. He's the most threatened.
House Speaker Mike Johnson tells Fox,
we are demanding in the House that he have every asset available, and we will make more available if necessary.
Now, President Biden, when leaving the White House a little while ago, going to Delaware, said the Secret Service does need more help.
I think we need some more personnel. I think they're deciding whether they need more personnel or not.
He also said, thank God, former President Trump is okay. He and Vice President Harris condemned political violence. The attempt was at the Trump International Golf Club as the former president was playing. Secret Service agents saw a rifle in some bushes and shot at the suspect, who drove away but was captured on the highway. Ryan Routh is at a federal courthouse right now. He just appeared. He's been charged with federal gun crimes. Before that appearance, Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw told Fox Routh has not been talking.
It appears that the last place of his residence was in Hawaii. So we're checking to see
what his flight schedules were, if he had any travel plans to get here.
As the acting chief of the U.S. Secret Service is now at the scene where a federal investigation is also underway, deputies recovered the rifle Routh had along with what appears to be body armor plates and a GoPro digital camera.
Fox's Evan Brown. TikTok's fighting for survival at a federal court hearing today. Lawyers for the social media app challenging the law that would ban TikTok in the U.S. if it does not cut ties with its Chinese parent company over concerns about Chinese influence and surveillance. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What he says could happen next. Radar's clear, 77 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Police have a lot of work to do to figure out the motive behind an attempted assassination of former President Trump. Ryan Hedrick reports.
To start, the police must get court orders to get into social media accounts and electronic devices of the man they arrested, Ryan Wesley Ruth.
And that takes a little bit of time, so this will unfold over the next few weeks.
Former Indianapolis FBI agent Doug Kuhn says police will have to look into how Ruth knew Trump was going to be golfing, given the fact that that outing wasn't on his public schedule.
Therefore, was it intentional or was it something inadvertent? Somebody was overheard saying something in public.
Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A teenager in Lafayette arrested for making threats online against a school. The 14-year-old kid is said to have threatened to shoot up Lafayette Jefferson High School. Police tracked him down and he had a gun as well, so you can add firearm charges on top of the intimidation charges he faces. A woman in Jasper is charged with attempted murder. Clara Whippo is accused of hitting a man over the head with a metal object, and then he had to go to the hospital where he's now recovering. Whippo was then tracked down and arrested, and now she is in the DuBois County Jail. This time of year is normally a dry period for Indiana, but forecaster Andrew White with the National Weather Service says this heat and lack of rain is worse than usual.
Yeah, unfortunately, really the next 7 days, there's no shot for rain, and then even looking beyond that, it doesn't look very good in the 7 to 14 day period.
He says there won't be much relief from drought conditions until October, and even then, there isn't expected to be a ton of rain. The Indianapolis Colts gave up 261 yards on 53 carries to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. The Colts losing 16-10. Head coach Shane Steichen on the run defense, or lack thereof.
We got to get it fixed. Starts with myself. I'm the head coach, and we got to get in that meeting room on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and get it fixed.
They have the Bears at home next Sunday. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to file your taxes, you need to call the professionals right now at the Tax Helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call Taxes 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard air dealer serving Central Indiana.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, September 16th. It's 5 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So Democrats have previously blamed Donald Trump for raising the temperature and being, quote, a threat to democracy. And now the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, saying that there is a dire need for more security surrounding Donald Trump. This after the second assassination attempt on him. The sheriff in that area of Florida said that the golf course security was limited because Trump is not a sitting president. And now this morning, Donald Trump said that President Biden and Vice President Harris's rhetoric is what is causing him to be shot at. This following that second assassination attempt against him since July.
Isn't that amazing? The basically they're excusing the shooter, like these politicians and Lester Holt on NBC, again, not some podcaster, but you're talking about the nightly news anchor for NBC, basically providing some sort of reason by which they're doing this, as though it somehow becomes anybody's fault other than the lunatic who's doing the thing.
Yeah. Okay. So we played this for everybody the first hour, but if you're just joining us, this happened last night on mainstream national news. Here's their head anchor.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
Okay, so you're right. There's a lot of finger pointing, right?
So, wait. Time out. Let's just, he's validating. He's essentially validating the action. Now, he's not validating in the sense of he's not saying, good, he did it, but he's creating some sort of rationale by which a normal human being would do this. Okay, so first of all, it doesn't appear that what this guy did had anything to do with Haitian immigrants, or even he's even aware there are Haitian immigrants. Okay, there's nothing that would support that whatsoever. So that's a false flag from Lester Holt, right? That is editorializing the news, that there's nothing in this guy's actions that that he cared at all about Haitian immigrants or Springfield or anything. So giant false flag. But even if it were, Donald Trump is entitled to say whatever he wants. Just the way you are. Now, obviously, there are legal limits in terms of you can sue people for things, etc. But Donald Trump's assertion in a debate that people are eating cats or dogs is not grounds to shoot him.
Right. For you to go stalk him
if you don't,
at a fence line.
If you are offended by that, if you don't believe that, if you think he's wrong about that, that's all fine. You're entitled to do that as an American. The same way as I'm entitled to think, or Casey might be entitled to think, well, even if it ain't true, there's 15 million people who have flooded into this country who are killing people, who are bringing drugs, who are human sex trafficking, who are doing things far worse than eating cats and dogs, and I'm entitled to not care at all because I'm going to support Donald Trump to stop that. This is why we have elections. This guy did something that's unexcusable. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump has said on the campaign trail. It doesn't matter what he wants to do as president. What that guy did is inexcusable, and Lester Holt should be ashamed of himself for attempting to editorialize the news and provide some sort of excuse, at the very least excuse, at the worst some sort of validation for what this guy was doing.
You're right. Lester Holt just said it's the rhetoric, it's the cats and dogs comment, but this guy, his social media wasn't filled with anything about immigration. It was all about what's going on in Ukraine. And it was also just a bunch of anti-Trump stuff. So how is Lester Holt getting from A to B on that one?
Because these people they can't help themselves. Think about the lengths they have gone to try to stop Donald Trump. He has had 2 attempts on his life. They've tried multiple ways to put him in jail. They have tried to tie him up in court in civil litigation. They have twice tried to impeach him. They pre him even getting elected, they wiretapped him. None of it's worked. None of it has worked. These people are at the end of the ropes to the point now where you have Lester Holt on NBC essentially providing some sort of explanation or cover or whatever for what this guy did, which is try to kill Donald Trump.
Right. He's blaming Donald Trump for someone trying to kill Donald Trump.
There is no correlation between Donald Trump saying people are eating cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio. You know when he says that, and you know what I go? Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to look into that. I don't go out and go, I'm going to kill Donald Trump. No, of course not. Because I'm not a sick, twisted, demented freak, which is what you do if you go out and you try to kill somebody.
Okay, now there's this ABC News whistleblower who swore under penalty of perjury that the Harris campaign received questions ahead of time at the debate.
Look,
This affidavit was signed on September 9th, the day before the debate.
would that surprise anyone? Did that surprise anyone that if you found out they got the questions in advance? I mean, clearly those moderators were acting on behalf of the Harris campaign. I mean, we don't need any affidavit to tell us that. They're fact checking one candidate. She lied out her ass as much as he did. They both do it. All the politicians do it. And yet they're fact checking him. By the way, they wrongly fact checked him. That's the worst part of all of it. The governor of Virginia, who Donald Trump cited about murdering babies outside the womb, the audio made national news at the time. You can find it today without any effort whatsoever, and they were wrong. Muir and what's-her-face were totally in the tank for Kamala Harris, and they went into business for themselves at the expense of hosting a fair and honest debate and letting Kamala defend herself and let Trump defend herself and go at each other on their records. And your job is to ask the questions and essentially, make sure people stay on time and they can't interrupt each other. It's pretty hard to screw up moderating a debate when the microphones are cut off. And they managed to do it.
Okay, so this is interesting. This is ABC's Martha Raddatz, and she's here acknowledging that 9 states have no restrictions on abortion. So in other words, Trump was right in the debate.
Vice President Harris did not make clear whether she supports any restrictions on abortion. Currently, 9 states and the District of Columbia have no gestational ban on abortions.
So what, they're trying to clean up their mess?
But there shouldn't even be a discussion. That's the base of the Democrat Party. The base of the Democrat Party believes in on-demand abortion from conception to live birth. Kamala Harris believes it, which is why she wouldn't answer the question. Jennifer McCormick here in Indiana believes it, which is why she wouldn't answer the question. Destiny Wells, who's running for attorney general, believes it. That's why she wouldn't answer the question. All of these people, like, it's not even a question anymore. In order to get these statewide office positions or run for these statewide office positions, in many cases, it's almost a given you have to have that position. I don't understand. Like, this is what blows my mind about the abortion discussion. You may not be where I am on this issue, but are you really where Jennifer McCormick is, which is that you should be able to suck the brains out of a 9-month-old fetus? Are you really where now you're cringing, but you know how we do it here, Casey. We don't just call it abortion. Our show is popular because we hold the mirror up and we make people look and see what it is. And that's what you're doing. You're sucking the brains out of a defenseless fetus. Is that what you believe in? Do you believe what Jennifer, you may not be where Mike Braun is. You may not be where Micah Beckwith is. But are you really where Jennifer McCormick is? Are you really where Destiny Wells is? And by the way, and we're going to get to this next segment, Destiny Wells was elated on social media, this lunatic lady running for attorney general, elated that in her Democrat poll, abortion was the #1 issue. She was euphoric about it. This is a woman with children. A woman who it appears has birthed multiple children is euphoric that abortion in her manipulated Democrat poll is the #1 issue in the state of Indiana. So the point in all this is, of course, Kamala Harris is for sucking the brains out of a defenseless fetus from conception to live birth, just like Jennifer McCormick is, just like Destiny Wells is, just like most of these Democrat statewide candidates are, because it's now a prerequisite, because abortion is a religion for the Democrat Party now. It is a religion for the base of the Democrat Party.
Well, when it comes to dealing with the media, J.D. Vance, he was on 3 shows on Sunday morning, and it seems that he is done playing nice with them, because here he is giving it to Dana Bash.
Dana, would you like to ask me questions and then let me answer them, or would you like to debate me on these topics? I noticed that when you had Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you gave them multiple choice answers to the questions that you asked, and you allowed them to answer the questions. I'm happy to be here to talk about policy, but if you're going to interrupt me every single time that I open my mouth, then why am I even doing this? So please ask a question, and I'd ask you to be polite enough to let me answer it.
Yes. It'll be interesting on October 1st when the vice president debate happens. I mean, can you imagine how J.D. Vance is going to clean up Tim Walz?
Oh, he's going to just, but
he can't dance on stage and say, "Look at me, I'm happy man."
But if you got a moderator that's in business for one of the teams, I mean, think about how hard it would be to win. Now, I love all the memes anytime the Chiefs win a game close that it's the refs in Chiefs jerseys. Think about how hard it would be to ever win a football game if the refs had bet on one side, or a baseball game if the home plate umpire, was cheering for one team. And this is what Trump's up against. And the weird thing about this, though, is I think it worked against them because Trump did a bad enough job in that debate. She could have probably, air quote, won on her own. But then people see that and they go, the fix is in. Again, and it almost covers for some of Trump's poor performances that it is all stacked against him.
All right, what are we talking about next?
We have to laugh at
You have to remind me.
We have to laugh at the Democrats of Indiana because
right, that poll.
They put out a poll done by a Democrat pollster from Washington, D.C. that shows on-demand abortion advocates Destiny Wells and what's her name? Jennifer McCormick within striking distance of Rokita and Braun. And we have to you want to talk about people who are acting like they've never been here before. And especially given the fact that the last time that on-demand abortion advocate Destiny Wells was on the ballot in Indiana, there was a poll that came out that said she was close, and they did the same happy dance 2 years ago, and she got her ass kicked by Diego. We just have to laugh at the Democrats for a few minutes. Can we do that when we come back?
Yep, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Attention, we have some delightful news, and it's kind of a big deal. You're invited to the first WIBC Pop-Up Pickleball Social, presented by Franciscan Health at Craig Park in Greenwood, Saturday, September 28th. Sign up for the Pickleball Clinic. See your favorite personalities pick up their paddles, plus open play and kids' activities. All the details are at WIBC.com. Get in the game. But to stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, I see what you did there.
With Franciscan Health and 93 WIBC.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life. And that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
When it comes to your well, preventive maintenance is the key to reliable water. Right now, C&J is offering a 6-point annual inspection for only $250, so you will know if your well and water are in great shape for the coming months. C&J will check the flow, the switch, the pump, and the pressure tank, and then they'll check for leaks and bacteria too. If it's been a while since you've checked the well, just do it. You can also save 10% on any necessary repairs. C&J Well Company, they're local, they're exceptional, they're affordable. 317-852-WELL.
Hey, what's up? It's Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel Show. You guys rocked it at our WIBC debate viewing party at 416 Wabash. That place is so cool. You guys were the stars of the show. And if you're looking for a place to have your next event, whether it's a wedding reception, class reunion, you name it, check out 416 Wabash. As a wedding DJ, I've played a lot of venues, and I got to tell you, 416 Wabash might be the coolest. 416wabash.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at We Grow Hair Indie, and man, it has been almost 4 years now since I made the choice to head over to We Grow Hair Indie, and every day I'm glad I did. So here's how it works at We Grow Hair Indie. You call them today, 317-522-2995, 317-522-2995, or head over to WeGrowHairIndie.com, WeGrowHairIndie.com. Schedule your totally free consultation
And you're going to head in there, and Darren and the gang are going to take a look at what you got going on the top of your head. And then they're going to make some recommendations on how they might be able to help fix that. And then it's up to you. No hassle, no obligation, totally free consultation. 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. And man, I'll tell you what, over the years, there are many, many people who are so glad they went to We Grow Hair Indy. And the results speak for themselves. I know. I'm one of them. Get all the information. Call them today. We Grow Hair Indy. 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Tell them Rob sent you.
You know Diamonds Direct for their exquisite diamonds and fine jewelry. What about luxury watches? With a handpicked collection by the industry's top timepiece experts, skip the waiting list and get the timepiece you've been eyeing right away. And this month only, enjoy 0% interest for 5 years on all the top brands. Imagine owning a $15,000 luxury watch for just $250 a month. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct, where you can shop direct for diamonds and watches.
Can you hear me?
So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
There is still time to get a patio this season. Get on the books now for a patio this fall. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. Changing the way Indy thinks about concrete.
There was a campaign poll that was released last week, and that poll says that Democrat Destiny Wells and Todd Rokita are in a statistical tie for Attorney General. They've got Wells at 41%, Rokita at 44%, with a 4% margin of error.
Yeah, so what's fascinating about this, and this happens every year in this state, and these Democrats, the Democrat Party in Indiana, and this is not good. It's part of the reason the Republicans behave the way they do. So I'm not saying this is a positive thing. But the Democrat Party in Indiana is a complete train wreck. And it's for a couple reasons. One, their views are totally out of step with regular people, both nationally and locally. And especially on the social stuff, whether it's abortion, men in the women's restrooms, men playing women's sport, all of these things that people may not like the Republicans, but they're put in a terrible position because they say, well, the Republicans are basically financial predators, but I can't have this. And this is why we get this one-party rule where the Republicans behave the way they do. The Democrats have social positions that are totally outside the mainstream in the state. They always make those positions front and center. I mean, you've got this woman, Destiny Wells, putting out a tweet cheerleading that, according to this poll that they put out, that abortion's the number one issue in Indiana. Nobody believes that. That the poll, any validity of that poll flew out the window when you're led to believe not food or gas or that abortion is the number one issue in the state of Indiana. No, not even the Democrats believe that. But every year there's some poll that comes out because here's what happens in this state. And this is the exact thing that happened in 2020. Remember, there was a poll in 2020 that showed Donald Rainwater getting 24% of the vote. And people were like euphoric, like, oh my gosh, all these people are walking away from the Republicans. They've had enough of Holcomb, blah, blah, blah. What happened? A bunch of those people, up until the time it came to vote, were Billy Badass, Johnny Tough Guy, and then they got in the voting booth and said, well, I can't have a Democrat in there, even though, of course, there's no difference with Holcomb. And about half of those people ended up voting for the Republican. The same thing happened in 22, which is there was a poll out that showed Destiny Wells and Diego Morales essentially tied, and everybody's euphoric, and Jeff Moore's very close to the 10% threshold to give libertarians primary ballot access. And what happened? People went in the voting booth and they were like, yeah, Diego's a buffoon and a complete moron, but this woman is a complete psychotic. We can't put her in charge of anything. And outside of 3 or 4 counties or 5 or whatever it was, she got smoked in 86, 87 counties, and Diego won 54% of the vote, and she won 40. This happens every single time. One, because I don't even believe the polls are all that well done. But two, so many people are tough guys until it gets in the voting booth, and then they ponder what the other side is. And whatever the poll says, you got to kick 4 or 5 or 6% of the Republicans just based on people who do that and the straight ticket voter people. She may today very well be within 6 or 7 points of Rokita, 5 or 6 points. Rokita's a bad candidate. Look, and I got moral high ground on this one, Casey, because everybody knows I don't like Rokita. So anything bad I say about Destiny Wells, you know it's from the heart, because I'm not by any means cheerleading for Todd Rokita. But the Democrats do not have money, they do not have organization, and they don't have great candidates because of the positions. Once people learn about the positions, you're telling me when people learn about their positions on taxes and guns and abortion and men being in the women's restrooms and all of these, you think people are going to be like, in places named Ville and Berg, they're going to be like, sign me up for that? There is no way. So the funny thing to me about all of this, though, is so this poll comes out, and it's done by this Democrat in Washington, D.C. It's not a local person. It's a Democrat-based pollster in Washington, D.C. That shows not that they're winning, but that it's close. And by the way, Braun's internals, it is not that close. I got that on pretty reliable information, but neither here nor there. But these Democrats, they just can't. You want to talk about people who are telling you they don't belong? The euphoric response
for being in a statistical tie.
They act like they've won the Super Bowl when this has happened to them multiple times. And instead of just taking it like a professional and being like, hey, polls are the polls, we're going to work for every vote, here's where we're at here, here's what we're doing. These people, McCormick and Wells, are on social media doing somersaults and handstands and acting as though they've won something, because the same thing that's happened to them 2 election cycles in a row is happening again, but it's all they've got.
Well, they're believing their own publicity, which, by the way, they paid for. So the firm is the Lake Research Partners, and that's just it. The Democrats paid for this poll. So guess what? It's kind of designed to screw in their favor from the start.
Look,
right?
Look, Rokita is probably, of the 4 statewides, Trump, Banks, Braun, Rokita is probably going to underperform the other 3. One, because Rokita is such a blowhard, he's needlessly alienated a lot of people like me. Like, I should be, but just based on politics, right? It should be a no-brainer I'm voting for Todd Rokita. It shouldn't even be a question. And there's thousands and thousands of people out there like me who he has needlessly alienated because he has exposed himself as a guy who puts politics ahead of everything. He's in a job where politics don't belong. Now, that certainly doesn't mean I'm going to vote for Destiny Wells. You could take an ice pick and stab my eye out, and I wouldn't vote for Destiny Wells. But the point is, Rokita's going to underperform because there's a lot of people who should vote for him who probably won't, just because of who he is and the way he presents himself. But he's not going to lose. Even Abdul, there's nobody who dislikes Rokita more than Abdul on State House Happenings. Abdul's like, hey, Rokita's going to win. Rokita may not win by as much as the others, but there's also no libertarian running, so maybe he will. But the point is, these Democrats are pathetically laughable that they do these victory laps over these polls 2 or 3 months outside of an election when they've been bit in the ass 2 election cycles in a row.
Well, you think they're trying to use that to energize their base and also use it for their donors. I saw somebody post something that Indiana is not a red state, it's a purple state with a voter turnout problem.
Oh, bull crap. The problem is the Democrats are so inept and so extreme, they have given people no choice but to vote for Republicans. That is the problem. If Jennifer McCormick had come on our show and said this, when we asked her about abortion, she was doing all right until she got to abortion midway through the interview. And we heard this from so many people like, hey, she seems pretty reasonable. She seems kind of normal. If she'd have said, look, this is already a decided issue. It's not necessarily where I am on the issue, but the reality is I'm going to be dealing with likely still a Republican supermajority who has no appetite to overturn Indiana's abortion law. We're done talking about abortion until the winds of this state change. I pledge to not touch Indiana's abortion law. She would have picked up a ton of votes because she does have a likable personality. But then, just like with Kamala, you say, okay, you don't like Indiana's law. What is your restriction on abortion?
You're the one who wants to make it a law. Specifically, what do you want?
And she won't answer, which means you're for on-demand abortion. People go, thank you, I'm out. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And the reality is that people will huff and people will puff until about a week before the election, and then they'll go, oh, crap, we can't let that in there. And Braun will win 50% plus of the vote. Braun will take away some of Rainwater's vote because some of those same people will think the same way. And Rokita will probably win 51-52. It'll be close, but he will win, and we will be right back here where we always are with us being pissed off at the Republicans.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Hey, can we talk about how crazy Tim Walz's wife sounded over the weekend?
Oh, you'll have to lead on this because I'll get in trouble if I say something. So will you take the lead on this segment?
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
It's on the way from 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's not saying much about it. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The man who is not talking, accused of apparently trying to kill former President Trump, was in court this morning. Ryan Ruth was arrested after being seen with a gun near the Trump International Golf Course while Trump was playing around. Doug Coons with Veracity and Fishers says the FBI will be digging deep into his devices.
And that takes a little bit of time, so this will unfold over the next few weeks.
He says the big question is how Ruth knew Trump would be playing on Sunday. The Coast Guard is holding public hearings on last year's implosion of the Ocean Gate Titan submersible on its way to visit the wreck of the Titanic. All 5 people on board were killed. The hearings starting today with testimony from a former director of engineering at Ocean Gate. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct. What an unbelievable deal going on right now at Universal Windows Direct. You call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. And Universal Windows Direct is going to give you 2 windows free for every 2 windows you buy. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Buy 20, get 20. There is no limit at Universal Windows Direct. And one of the things we love about Universal Windows Direct is they back up their work with a true lifetime warranty. Yes, that's right, a true lifetime warranty. And what that means is the warranty is going to last for you as long as you own the home, and a 20-year warranty to the next home owner. Oh, and I totally got distracted. On top of the buy 2, get 2 free going on with Universal Windows Direct, right now when you call today, 317-659-7574, they have 0% financing for 36 months. Now, some restrictions apply. So to get all the information, call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574. And when you do, say Rob Kendall told me to call, they're going to take $250 off your project just because.
Hey, what's up? Hammer and Nigel here. We are both customers of Window Nation. Window Nation came out to the Hammer house. They measured everything multiple times. They got it right the first time. They were in, they were out, and now my house looks amazing, and my heating and air bill has gone down because of my awesome energy-efficient windows.
Yeah, Hammer, I had the same experience. Hey, you could buy 2 windows, get 2 free with 0 down and no interest for 24 months. 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
40 years of B-Window.
And 80,000 Indiana homes with windows, doors, siding, and bats.
Pam and I are happy to announce B's 100 employees now own B-Window, and Patrick Renard will lead B as CEO.
And B will continue the customer-first feeling that George and Pam built. And to celebrate B employee-owned,
Bees offer an employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months no interest, no payments.
Trust me.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends and family at Life Church. Man, had a great time yesterday at Life Church. And one of the things I love about Life Church, every time I walk in the door, I feel like I'm with my family. I feel like so much more than just a number. I feel like an individual. And I took a friend of mine and his wife to Life Church the past couple of weeks, and they're feeling the same way. They're like most people. When you head into Life Church, you just feel like you're home. They're warm, they're welcoming. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. See for yourself why. Campuses all across central Indiana. They got amazing online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Celebrate a Fun 50s weekend in Grant County, Indiana, September 26th through 29th. Cruise over to the Ducktail Run in Gas City and the James Dean Run in Fairmount, two of the Midwest's coolest classic car shows. Honor the era of hot cars and cool cats and celebrate where cool was born. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana, classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Based on the last 17 years, we feel like American Standard is the best in the market.
That's Chris Wedekin, owner of Absolute Comfort, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So Gwen Walls is raising some eyebrows for a speech she gave during a campaign event in Wisconsin. She used this sweeping hand gesture. She was saying goodbye to Trump and turn the page on Trump. It was meant to energize the audience, but a lot of people were saying all it did was induce cringe everywhere else. People are saying that she is the living embodiment of Trump derangement syndrome. And we have to take a listen to this. We've got a longer version and a shorter version. You be the judge.
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page. Oh, pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn the page. And we're going to turn the page. All right, so I'm going to be watching you because when I see Wisconsin, and I'm watching nationally on TV because this is a pretty important place, and Minnesota helped you practice with this. You just show me this. Turn the page, right? Turn the page. And you know what else that looks like? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Donald Trump. We are turning the page.
That hurt my ears. If we're turning the page, doesn't that mean we're saying goodbye to Kamala Harris?
Well, that was my question. Is they see, this is where the media, becoming a teammate of the Democrat Party, or not becoming, they are a teammate of the Democrat Party. No one's going to ask her that question. Excuse me, ma'am. Who's in charge of the country right now?
Right.
Right? They have successfully acted as though, or manifested Kamala Harris into not being the current vice president of the United States.
She is, but she isn't. She is when it's convenient for them.
My wife and I have this conversation quite often about why people are willing to be treated like complete idiots and garbage by their elected officials. And on a variety of issues, I just tell her the same thing. I said, it comes back to, if you want to solve this, you have to solve the public education system. Because on all of these issues, people are being dumbed down and eradicated of free, responsible thought. There's a reason the private school kids or voucher kids tend to view the world a little differently, right? Because they're challenged on things. They get a different type of education from different type of people in many cases than you get in the public education system. And I told her, and I will tell everybody listening right now, you will not solve what's going on in this country until you start winning these school board races up and down the ballot. Because as long as you have the radicals, and look, the Republicans are totally blamed for this because they allow Democrats to run as wolves in sheep's clothing because they don't have to party identify in the state for school board races. As long as you have these radicals who are controlling the agenda on public education in our state and in our country, people will not be capable of thinking for themselves. They will not be capable of deciphering through the bull crap, and they will continue to, we will sit in astonishment and go, I cannot believe people are falling for this.
Many people were saying that she has crazy eyes, especially when she was doing that. It was cringy. She's 1,000 times worse than Hillary Clinton. But here's the deal. This is the woman who said that she left her windows open during the riots in Minneapolis so that she could smell the city burn. That should tell you everything you need to know. They don't need to put her on stage. Like they don't need to put her out.
But what's
there.
the penalty? Why not? She is them. She is the base of the Democrat Party. And if there's no penalty for the media holding her accountable, then why not?
Didn't she sound a little bit like Jill Biden? You did it, Joe. You answered all the questions.
What are we doing next?
We're going to turn the page, Rob. We're going to turn the page. We're going to talk about Chili's, the restaurant.
How exciting.
And how they're doing well. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it this afternoon, 3:06. We'll recap the Colts game, the biggest stories in Indy, Monday Gun Day, 93 WIBC.
It's Terry Stacy, a customer of Premier Deck Coating, and they've changed our life when it comes to saving us time and money, preparing and protecting our deck year after year. Premier Deck Coating is the ultimate deck protection, sister company of Rhino Shield, locally owned. Right now, we've got black walnuts that fall from the trees that normally used to stain the deck, but no more now that we have Premier Deck Coating. It has completely transformed our deck with their special formulated product, and it's backed by a 10-year warranty. They came in, they sanded all the walking surfaces, they repaired the damaged boards, and then they applied their Protect Deck and Railing coating, and that repels mold and moisture, and it resists scratches, and it keeps our deck looking great for years to come. They can also do fences and pergolas, too. And listen to this. Right now, they're able to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans and no payments until next year to qualified customers. Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. We love what they were able to do for us. For a free quote, visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
Truck drivers, it's time to drive for a company that values your time. At Midwest Logistics Systems, you'll get home every day and have a predictable Monday through Friday schedule with occasional Saturdays. Plus, you'll enjoy the convenience of driving out and back routes and hauling no-touch, mostly drop-and-hook freight. MLS drivers also earn performance and safety bonuses and have access to a comprehensive benefits package. Explore our selection of local dedicated driving jobs and apply today at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
Pat Sullivan here with Michaela from Michaelis. If you see mold in your home or business, why should you call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local and family-owned business for over 39 years. We are your neighbors. Our inspections are free. Michaelis is also IICRC certified. Michaelis will sample the mold and has full remediation services available.
And Michaelis helps with the insurance process for mold remediation. Water, storms, fire, and mold, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-791-1313. That's 800-791-1313.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Attention all Hoosiers, a historically important election is headed our way. The time to prepare for the election is now. Are you registered to vote? Do you have a plan to vote? The Indiana Secretary of State's office wants to remind you, registering to vote or updating your registration is fast, easy, and can be done online at indianavoters.com. You must be registered 30 days before Election Day, so get registered and get out to vote. This message is sponsored by the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
If you have breathing triangle issues like compromised nasal breathing and sleep, snoring, or even sleep apnea issues, a call to Advent makes sense because breathing well will help you live better.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Home can be the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Indiana's early morning dew.
When was the last time you went out to eat and you went to a Chili's?
Boy, that's a great question. Man, it's been 4 or 5 years maybe. It's been a long time since I've been to a Chili's.
Now, I know you used to frequent Applebee's often. Do you still do that?
No, it's too far to drive. It's impossible. Since the very high IQ people who run the town have made it just such an enjoyable. You remember the game Frogger?
Yeah.
Remember on Seinfeld?
I love that game.
That's what it's like to get across Brownsburg now with all the road construction.
Yeah.
And they decided, and look, this is brilliant. I mean, you can't begin to understand the level of brilliance of people who run this town. They decided to do it all at the same time.
Right. So let's make it really inconvenient.
Right. So it really is basically a 9-hour journey. You know how the days when you used to, it's always whole day to get on your horse and buggy and, go from one town to the next. That's what we have now where I live. So it really is a sort of necessity. It's hard to get around town these days.
I thought about you over the weekend. This is totally off topic, but we went down to Brown County, walked around Nashville, and then went to the state park. And
why did you go now? The leaves haven't changed yet, have they?
Well, just because it was a nice weekend.
Oh, okay.
Right? Wanted to spend some time outside in the park, but stopped in Nashville on the way.
Was there anybody there since the leaves haven't changed yet?
There were a lot of people there, and to my point, Nashville was very busy. And then when it came to the point where I saw the Brownsburg cross-country team all making all sorts of noise on the bus and walking around town, I said, all right, we got to go. This place is too crowded.
Well, the cross-country is what you need to get across the town now because that's what it is. It's like a cross-country trip.
Right. Okay, so back to Chili's and Applebee's.
Yes.
And TGIF. When was the last time you went to a Thank God It's Fridays?
I didn't even know it was still a thing.
Yeah, it is. Although they have closed half of their stores in the last decade.
Oh, wow.
Applebee's and TGIF have.
Wait. Applebee's has closed half of its stores in the past decade?
Yeah.
No kidding.
So is TGIF.
No kidding.
But Chili's, on the other hand, in the past year alone, had a 15% increase in their business.
Now, Chili's has, they've got this deal, the $10 deal thing that they run. And every time I see that, I think that has to be a loss leader. But apparently it's doing enough good because they keep running it and their doors remain open. We talked about the thing like with the, not Long John Silver's, Red Lobster.
Yeah.
Where they had that all-you-can-eat shrimp and it was a colossal financial disaster that maybe whatever that $10 thing is threading the needle of just popular enough to get enough people in, and the people who come with them maybe not don't want that, and they'll buy something that's a higher profit share.
Okay, now you have pinpointed exactly one of the reasons why Chili has been successful this year, and it's because of the value that they have focused on, and that's $9.95, and I believe you get the burger and the fries and probably
an
a
appetizer.
drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so because of that, the burger focus, also their innovative marketing, and they're crushing it on social media. They had a new CEO that took over in June of 22, and under his guidance, they focused a lot of things, and one of them was advertising. They also improved a lot of the physical locations, so they did a lot of remodeling in the Chili's, and also they wanted to focus on the experience for both the patrons and the staff. But one thing that has really been helping Chili's has been their social media. So they have these mozzarella sticks, And they have completely gone viral with the cheese pull.
Oh.
Somebody will bite into it and string the cheese out and see how far it can go. Well,
it's like a competition.
Yes, and it's really helped Chili's out. And the other thing that they've done is they cut their menu. They're offering less items, so they're more focused, and it's really helped them out as they've grown 15% in the past year, while Applebee's and TGIF have declined at least almost 2%.
All right, here we go. So this is from the Chili's website. It's called 3 for Me. And here's the indulge in our 3 for Me value meal, tailored to suit every craving and occasion. Handpick your beverage, starter, and main course, or elevate your experience with a timeless margarita, dip trio, or our delectable cheesecake. So it is a drink. It is an appetizer, and the main thing. I mean, they got a 6-ounce sirloin on here as a part of that too. That's this isn't bad.
Makes you rethink Chili's, huh?
No kidding. Boy, that's wild. Anyway, how are they pulling that off?
Okay, so I think what we all really miss about Chili's the most, though, is the jingle.
Yeah,
the baby back.
The baby back ribs. By the way, isn't Chili's from just a food content perspective? I've always thought it was a little bit better than Applebee's.
Oh, I've never done a side-by-side.
You should do that.
It's been so long since I've been to a Chili's or an Applebee's.
That'd be perfect for you.
Yeah.
Remember, didn't TGI Fridays kind of peak in the late 90s, early 2000s when the Office Space movie came out?
Right, and the Flair.
Because remember, the name of it was not TGI Fridays.
It was like Tchotchkes or
yeah,
something.
but it was clearly supposed to be
a ripoff.
TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
And it was in every mall. There was a TGI Fridays. And yeah, maybe that's just a thing. I didn't even know they still existed.
I've seen one Max and Irma around the area.
Yeah.
And what about Ruby Tuesday? That's another one that's fallen off.
All of those have gone, seems like just the way of the dinosaur. Forgotten, the land that time forgot.
And look at Chili's hanging on. I think it's really interesting that they cut their menu, and that's helped them.
When I was young, my first job, I worked at a golf course. So I would have been 15.
Yeah.
And there was this guy who would play at the golf course, and his sort of notoriety was he looked exactly like Kelsey Grammer.
Okay.
Like he was a dead ringer for Kelsey Grammer. And this guy would play, a couple times a month or whatever at the golf course. And one of the things you would get as a worker was free golf. And every so often I would go out and play with this guy. And I think he said that he worked at, I cannot remember if it was Chili's or TGI Fridays, but he was talking about how popular it was at the time and what a good value, even all those years ago, that it was. And I will never forget that guy because he looked exactly like Kelsey Grammer.
Well, he was onto something.
And he knew it. Like he embraced that, hey, I look exactly like Kelsey Grammer.
He was a doppelganger, and he was like, yes, I know.
Yeah.
Thank you. He was onto something because apparently the value menu at Chili's is working for them. Plus, they had a little help with social media.
Isn't that impressive, though, that all these years later, Casey?
Yeah.
That was 25 years ago, like right here.
Yeah.
I mean, I pulled that out like that.
Yeah, it's like file cabinet.
I mean, it was just like a boom. And I had no idea we were going to talk about this. I had no idea we were going to go this way. But I mean, this is why we are so wildly popular, because this mind, like there's no end to how deep it has the ability to go.
Yeah. Do you have a Chili's near you?
No, Plainfield would probably be the closest one.
Okay.
I think there's one in Plainfield.
All right. Well, you'll have to cross town and go check it out.
Also, a lot of work because then you got to drive through Avon, and the Mensa members that run Avon have apparently the Brownsburg and Avon are in. No, they're shutting down other roads to get to Rockville. Rockville Road is its own third circle of hell, Casey. They're now in Avon shutting down roads to get to Rockville Road.
Yes, I know that. That Washington Street Bridge is still under construction and will be till next year.
Now, this is interesting, and I didn't know we were going to do this, but Avon is fascinating because there's no identity to Avon. It is literally just a strip of
retail.
It's one business after another.
Sure.
And it's fascinating to me how these communities can't get it right. So Avon is a town void of any identity. It's just a strip that happens to be a town. And then Brownsburg has done the exact opposite, where we're just going to put a high-density housing development on every corner, and we're going to have more people than we know what to do with, and no business identity whatsoever.
Right,
it's like, couldn't you guys get together? Couldn't you you're right next to each other, just meet in the middle, like, It's sort of what you've done with the overpopulation, a little bit of that over here. And sort of what you've done with the over-business saturation. Maybe do a little bit of that. Maybe could just combine them together.
Right. Make it a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Welcome to the West Side, baby.
Hey, that's where I do my grocery shopping. I was there yesterday. I was at Costco yesterday, by the way. Wow. You want to talk about a third ring of hell? That was
buddy.
one busy place.
Time to go, Casey.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for listening today. Tony Katz is up next. This is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.